You're listening to The Pete Sheppard Show.
It's good to be back.
Obviously, losing to Notre Dame Catholic school rival, one name on the season BC. I've heard from a lot of things.
I'm really glad. You know, I'm glad you're down. I'm not down. Nobody's down. We're fighting. We're competing. You know, it's the second year of this program, Mike. You always come in here with these down questions. Like you show up like once a month or something like that. Come in here with these down questions. I'm not down. I don't know what year you graduated from BC, but this is a program that we're building. Nobody here's down. We're positive. We're going to show up and play our asses off against SMU. You can go out there in your dark, clouded world or whatever it is and do what you want to do. We're not down. The sun is up, and we're fighting. That's my message to the fans. What's up, Trevor?
Then there's fighting words. Fighting words. Bill O'Brien, Boston College head coach, firing back at Mike Guerrieri, reporter. Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Pete Sheppard Show here on Hump Day Wednesday. And we will be talking a lot of college football today. We are going to be hearing from Mark Rhodes, the chairman of the committee. Get your bullshit meter out. You will hear it smell right through whatever device you are listening or watching this show on for his crap and trying to justify some of the rankings, which I knew was going to happen. We have a big NFL trade deadline recap show. It absolutely cracks me up that the Jets are rebuilding once again for the fifth time in 15 years. I don't care if the Jets get 25 first-round picks. It doesn't matter. They'll screw it up. But we're going to break it down anyway. You're going to hear from Darren Moge, their GM, and he'll justify everything. And maybe Aaron Glenn's job is going to be safe because now they've just blown it up. Cracks me up. There's still some Jet people out there that have some faith at the organization. It doesn't matter. They could have 25 first-round picks in a row. They will mess it up. You put that jersey on, you're bound to screw up. But we'll get into it. You can judge for yourself. Yes, I hate the Jets. And until they, and to me, it's like the Red Sox almost, spending money. I'll believe it when I see it. You can give the Jets all you want to say they were smart in what they did, and they were. I think they were smart. They got a ton of capital back yesterday. There's no question about it. They have a shitload of draft picks. I'll go over them. I mean, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter, as Bill Murray said in Meatballs. Just doesn't matter. So we have NFL trade deadline recap to talk about. The Patriots did only a minor move because Amy Adams stunk in her pettiness. Did not want to trade with Mike Vrabel and the Patriots because she's still a little upset the way things went down and he left. He went to Tom Brady's retirement ceremony last year. So instead of maybe getting edge rusher Arden Key, who I know they were focused on, or running back Tony Pollard, who I know they were focused on, or maybe even Calvin Ridley, the wide receiver, they didn't get any of them because she didn't want to, and I called a couple of people that sort of confirmed it. She didn't want to deal with the Patriots because of Vrabel. So she could have bettered her team, but instead her pettiness is going to cost her team. And whatever, I know some people up and all the Patriots, look, man, most of the teams in contention for anything didn't do anything major. That's just the way it is. I think they tried. I'm not getting, some of you people get your panties in a bunch because they didn't make some major move. They had salary cap thing. Was I expecting a little bit more? Yeah, maybe. But you know what? I'm not sitting here going to be, turn into the Tasmanian devil because the Patriots didn't get some mediocre type of name. There's plenty of football left. There's plenty of cuts that are going to happen. There's going to be other names out there. So from a personal standpoint, for me and my team that I want to see win, the minor move that they did, deciding Jerry Rice's son off the practice squad, or was a wave from the Chargers and everything else. And I don't know if he's even going to be able to make any type of impact. I don't know. All I know is my team is at 7-2 in the first place. They have a big game coming up with Tampa this week, and hopefully Ramondre Stevenson and Gonzalez can play. That's what I'm hoping for this week. The rest of it will take care of itself. Just go look at all the top teams record-wise and see what they did. Not a lot. Not a lot. The Colts, yes. Indianapolis, one of the few. They did. And they really think Daniel Jones is going to be the guy. And why wouldn't you right now? He changed organization. I mean, same with Sam Darnold in Seattle. It's there are teams that made some moves. Don't get me wrong, obviously, but I'm not going to sit here and those of you with your panties in a bunch because the Patriots didn't go get somebody, and now what do you think the season's going to fall apart? I mean, come on, it's ridiculous. There's a lot of football left. There's a lot of waiver wire stuff that's going to happen over the next several weeks. There's a long way to go before the postseason begins. So let's just take it one game at a time. So we got NBA, NHL recap. Nice win by the Bruins last night in a shootout. Pick up 2 points on the island against the Islanders. I know Angels Flyers won in Montreal, which is good. They're playing some decent hockey. We're going to hear from Miami Herald columnist Omar Kelly on the Joe Rose Show yesterday on the status of the Miami Dolphins. And man, it's just something that we've been talking about and a whole lot more. So lots of college football news. We're going to start in a second here with Mark Rhodes, chairman of the committee on the college football playoff rankings. But we say good morning to Angel Martinez in Tampa. Another beautiful day here in Southwest Florida. I'm sure it is up there. We're headed to the low 80s today like we were yesterday with low humidity. It's just absolutely been beautiful weather down here from Fort Myers all the way up to Tampa. So good morning, Angel. How are you?
Good morning, Pete, and good morning to the rest of the world. And by the way, elections yesterday. And guess what? Pete is the mayor of Shepherdsville. I am the deputy mayor of Shepherdsville. Everybody can just have fun. Why? Because it's the same thing we do here on the network. So yeah, it's all good times. But of course,
I'm I'm like Bill Cosby when he was the great himself, which is world famous. The show that he did himself that was in Toronto, the one that really launched the Cosby Show and all that stuff. He had so many great bits when he was funny and not being perverted and all that stuff. And he goes, "I'm not the boss of my house. I don't know how I lost it. I don't know where I lost it. I don't think I ever had it. But I've seen the boss's job, and I don't want it." I don't even have 5 kids like he did. But anyway,
the only reason why I say this morning because it's funny where usually I get like general emails and stuff, and some of them are funny, some of them are it's spam stuff. But lately, I've been getting 5 to 6 emails on the average saying, "Why don't we talk politics?" And it's simple. We don't, because we like to have fun. We like to enjoy ourselves, and that's not what we do around here.
No, I'm not talking. I don't talk except to make fun of it. And most of you know, I've said this even through my whole radio career. I'm just not. I don't get political. It doesn't do you any good. This is not that type of show. There's plenty of other outlets if you want that. I just don't do it. Plus, the potential, which other people have found out over the last few years, you start doing that on sports radio shows, you piss off sponsors one way or the other. You cannot win. So it's best to just say neutral. Say you hate everybody like I do. There are times where we do play political statements regarding sports, but very, very, very little. Very, very, very little. I don't even like playing Governor Landry last week at LSU because that gets overly political. He starts talking about Donald Trump, picking the new head coach. I get uncomfortable playing that crap. But I play it because I make fun of it.
Right.
But I just don't. I just stay out of it. And for anybody doing this type of work, I was suggesting because you can't win. Nope. You cannot win. And people that own businesses and put political posts on their businesses, I don't think is a very smart thing to do, because you're pissing off possible clientele. And whether it is I hear people all the time, "I'm not going to this restaurant. I'm not going to that restaurant. I won't go see this movie. I won't watch this TV show because of this person's political stance or religious stance or whatever it is." I think it's silly. That means the people that think that way, you're going to boycott life. Then you're never going to be, if you have to sit there and chart out where you're going to eat, what movie you're going to see, what television show you're going to watch because of somebody's political background, I think it's crazy. But what is not crazy is when people in business and on social media are posting, it's their right. They can do what they want. I'm just saying, for me, it's not if somebody I don't judge anybody's business.
Right.
Or I don't judge movies or TV shows by somebody's political background. I never have and never will. Otherwise, people wouldn't watch anything, you know. But so if I see posts from businesses or restaurants, bars, whatever, it doesn't really matter, and somebody's anti-Republican or anti-Democrat or anti-anything, that's their right. And I would never, I would, I would, I would always go to if I felt like I wanted to go to the place and eat at the restaurant or buy a product from this certain area, that wouldn't bother me. That's just me. It wouldn't bother me. But a lot of other people, you say the wrong thing politically on social media, on your business, it's a big X. You get blocked. They don't want to. They're not going to come to your business, whether it's a restaurant or a bar or a convenience store or whatever. And I'm telling you, it has an impact on people. It shouldn't, but it does. So that's why, to me, it's not worth it.
No.
It's not. It's not worth it because you're pissing off half the people that might come to your establishment or might go to this restaurant or that restaurant or, whatever, like I said, establishment. So I don't know, that's just me. Anywho, off my soapbox. All right, let's get before we, let's get into what happened. We've got plenty of time to get into the NFL. And I know some of you out there, I can't sit here and spend a whole bunch of time on what the Jets did. Yay, Jets. That's the only applause they get. The Jets maybe they're blowing it up again. Does anybody really feel comfortable? And let me just say this. Everybody knows the blockbuster deals, allegedly, we'll see, that they made yesterday. Let's see. Here's the Jets' future draft picks after yesterday's trades, okay? Next year, they have their own first-round pick. They have Indy's first-round pick. They have their own second-round pick, and they have Dallas's second-round pick. In 2027, they have their own first-round pick. They have Dallas's first-round pick, and they have Indy's first-round pick. So they have 5 first-round picks for the next 2 years and 2 second-round picks. And you know what it all means? Ugats, nothing. Because until I see it on paper, you are still the Jets. It is still 1968. And I'll give you a little latitude. You haven't been relevant since 2010. You haven't made the playoffs in 15 years. You've rebuilt like 3 times since then. So what makes anybody feel that's going to be any different? They make the blockbuster deal yesterday, a couple of them. They trade 3-time Pro Bowl defensive tackle Keenan Williams to the Cowboys, and they trade Sauce Gardner on the same day to Indianapolis. So you can give me all the first-round picks and second-round picks you want for the Jets. Let's see what they do with it, because what are the odds? More likely than not, they will fuck it up when it's all said and done. Talk to me in 3 years. Let's see where the Jets are. Let's see where the Jets are in 3 years with all these drafts. They're going to rebuild again. It's not the first time. They're going to rebuild again. The Jets, rebuilding. What else is new?
How many?
Talk to me when the only one who should feel safe maybe is Aaron Glenn, who's not going to get fired now after this year, even though you could certainly make a case he should be. But good luck with all the draft picks next year and next 2 years. Go ahead, Angel.
That was going to be the question I was about to ask you, actually, because of Aaron Glenn. I know he shouldn't be fired, but do we know how many coaches have actually been let go their first season and it's tanked in the NFL?
Well, Gerard Mayo's one. No, not like. I mean, he's going to make it to the end of the year. They're not going to fire him. But Gerard Mayo made it 1 year. That was it, and rightly so. Aaron Glenn, I don't think he's coached particularly well this year in a few games, particularly the ones overseas.
Right.
I just don't. And you could say, well, what's the team that's built around? I don't know. There were high expectations for the Jets this year. They'd be quote unquote decent, and they're not. They're terrible. They're terrible, and they can't get out of their own way. And if anybody sits there to trust that organization, they're going to rebuild again for another time. I mean, again, we've been talking about them for 1968. They're a joke. Now, as bad of a joke as I think the Jets are, the Miami Dolphins are a bigger joke right now. The Miami Dolphins are an embarrassment to the NFL. their owner, is an embarrassment to football. Like I said, preamble. Everything else he does outside the football team is fantastic. He's a wonderful man. This is just about him professionally running that football team is an absolute disgrace. And you're going to keep that bozo, Mike McDaniel, a.k.a. Charlie Brown, for another year, and you're going to hire a GM that's going to kiss your ass, that wants to keep Mike McDaniel, the disgrace of all disgraces about coaching. You're going nowhere. And they're in salary cap hell, and Tua can't go anywhere anytime soon. It's ridiculous. In a couple of years, he's going to make $65 million. Think about that. He's going to make $65 million in a couple of years.
Incredible.
You're screwed, Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphin fan. And that pleases me, I must say. I get tingly. All right. Speaking of getting tingly, last night getting angry, and I knew I was. I knew Miami wasn't going to get in, and you can make the argument they didn't deserve to get in, and I completely understand that. But I do think, as usual, there is such a double standard when it comes to Notre Dame, and there's such a double standard when the committee, when it pleases them, the hypocrisy. Sometimes, games that matter early, like when Miami beat Notre Dame, like when they beat ranked USF, like when they beat Florida State when they were ranked, and they beat Florida. All that stuff, all of that seems to go away when it's the Miami Hurricanes. When it's Notre Dame or some other, Oregon. I'm telling you, if Miami played Oregon 10 times, they'd beat them 7. That Oregon team is a fraudulent team. Another one. And they're sitting there at 8th. But every time the committee starts to say, well, in the season, head-to-head competition matters. Early in the season, it matters. Now, when teams are ranked at that time, it matters. And then everybody's bringing up Penn State. Well, when Oregon beat Penn State had not unraveled yet. That's the term everybody unraveled. And I get all of that. I think you should be credited for beating the team where they were ranked at the time. It's not your fault, or maybe it's not particular team's fault that the team went awry, like in Penn State's case, okay? That it all, quote unquote, unraveled. But the committee seems to make up these rules regarding certain teams. And then they go back and say, well, that doesn't matter. Well, Alabama lost to Florida State. Yeah, but they've beaten 4 ranked teams in a row. Great, I love it. But don't say it doesn't matter. And they keep doing the hypocrisy of it's the way teams are playing now. So if Miami had lost to Notre Dame, and then, trust me, if Miami had lost to Notre Dame and then won their next 7 games, I promise you, Notre Dame would still be ranked ahead of them right now. It's ridiculous. And Notre Dame has 2 losses to Miami and to Texas A&M by a point at home. All right? And you can make a case that Texas A&M is the best team in the country, top to bottom right now. Then you got other analysts who are saying analytics means more than the eye test. I think you got to factor in both. And I'm not sitting here saying Miami right now deserves to be in the college football playoff, because they shot themselves in the foot twice. But it wasn't like they were horrific. Notre Dame moved up in the AP poll this week, and they played like shit against Boston College. Miami blows out Stanford 2 weeks ago and drops 1 spot in the poll. They cover, they win by 35, they cover the line, they go over the total, and they dropped in the poll. Notre Dame plays like dingleberries at Chestnut Hill last week against Boston College, and they move up. So tell me where the hypocrisy is, that it's not there. It's ridiculous. Unbelievable. All right, let's hear from last night. Let's hear, which was around, 8:20, from the College Football Committee Chairman, Mack Rhodes, on with Reese Davis and company. Here we go. I'm not going to play the whole thing, but enough. Listen to the hypocrisy. Listen to the BS.
College Football Playoff Selection Committee joined us now. Mac, we talked a little bit earlier, right before the show, about the new enhanced metrics that the committee is using, the difference in the way strength of schedule is evaluated, and for the first time, the metric you were calling record strength. How well did you play against your schedule? Given those metrics, who did that have the biggest impact on in terms of evaluation, the new enhanced version of the metrics?
Well, one, great to be with you, Reese, and and Booger and Greg and Joey and Greg, by the way, I agree completely with you. But to your question, Reese, for example, it came up when we talked about Oregon. And Oregon, when you look at them in the top 10, are lowest ranked in terms of record strength. And so the committee had a lot of conversation, rigorous debate, conversation about, Oregon as a team. And, we're blessed to have 3 coaches in the room and looking at the tape. And when you looked at Oregon, great players at the skill position, felt that they're really, really good up front, both sides of the ball. Their one loss is to our number 2 ranked team, Indiana. And so, again, when we looked and evaluated Oregon, we really looked, in terms of just quality of team and how they looked on film.
Oh,
So
stop it.
Oregon's only loss is to Indiana. So let's talk a little bit about the 3 highest ranked teams. Joey's pointed out many of the metrics, assuming they mirror what was in the room, would favor Texas A&M. I think all of us who watched Ohio State and Indiana play, it's hard to argue with them. How did the metrics weigh against the football judgment in the room of watching those 2 teams from the Big Ten play?
Yeah, we had, robust discussion about the 3 of them. Obviously, all 3 undefeated. We had great discussion about them on Monday. We certainly came back today. We really felt like the committee that Ohio State and Indiana were close. When you looked at the statistical data, both offensively and defensively, 2 teams, both in the top 5 offensively, 2 teams, both in the top 5 defensively, both with really, really good wins. Ohio State, a win against Washington and certainly against Texas. Indiana, a win against Oregon and Iowa. But when we again looked at tape, we looked at metrics. We felt like Ohio State a little bit better up front on the offensive line, and we thought they were better.
All right, Angel, that's good.
defensively. And then
That's
when we
good.
looked at statistics and we included.
You can stop it,
Texas
Angel.
A&M.
That's enough. That's enough out of him. See, here's the problem I have. I'm not. You can quibble all you want about who should be in the top 3 right now. I don't give a shit. They're all. You can make cases for either one. That's going to work itself out as the season goes along when the college football playoff starts. That's going to work itself out. But I have a problem. Like Oregon ranked 8th, and I'm telling you, they're a team. I think Louisville would beat Oregon. I think Miami would beat Oregon. And I think Georgia Tech would beat Oregon. And Oregon has beaten nobody. Montana State, Montana State, FCS school. Oklahoma State stinks. Northwestern stinks. Oregon State stinks. Okay, they won in overtime at Penn State, 30-24. All right. They got blown out at home. Not blown out, but they were beaten up pretty good at home by Indiana, 30-20. Then they blow out Rutgers. They stink, and Wisconsin stinks. Oregon should not be ranked 8th. Not by the longest of shots should they be ranked 8th. No way. So you want to quibble about Ohio State, Indiana, Texas A&M? I got you. Alabama 4th. They lost to Florida State, but that's okay. They can beat 4 ranked teams in a row and get to 7-1. I really don't even have a problem with that. But it's one of those things where the committee chooses to ignore what happened early, and they're playing better now, obviously, which we all get. And certainly they deserve to be in the top 10. But that's a bad loss to Florida State, opening loss at the time. And Florida State was ranked. Florida State was ranked, but they don't take that in consideration when Miami beat them either. I mean, it's just that it depends on who you talk to, what you want. BYU is 7th, Texas Tech is 8th, and Oregon 9th, and Notre Dame moves up to 10. Notre Dame in the AP poll this week, after playing like crap against Boston College, moved up 2 spots from 12 to 10. And I knew they were going to, but they don't. They do that, but Miami drops 2 weeks ago after blowing out Stanford. Explain that to me. Somebody has to really explain that to me from the committee, and this question still hasn't been asked. So at the end, the last, you got Texas. Texas moves up to number 11. They are 13th in the AP. They moved up 6 spots because they beat Vandy, and they and Oklahoma are the first 2 teams out of the college football playoff. But they're right there. They're back right there. Should they be? The way Texas has played, if you look at their entire body of work, hell no. Hell no. They shouldn't be 11th. No way. So they're 11th. Oklahoma's 12th. You got Utah 13, Virginia 14, Louisville 15, Vandy 16, Georgia Tech 17. You know, they dropped Georgia Tech, lost a tough game on the road at NC State at night, where a lot of people lose when they play that team at night.
Yep.
But they fall, they dropped in the polls. They dropped 8 spots, if I'm not mistaken. In the AP poll, they dropped 7 spots. But in the college football playoff rankings, they are 17. Miami's 18, USC 19. To close out the college football rankings, playoff rank, Iowa, Michigan, Missouri, Washington, Pittsburgh, and Tennessee. So there's that. I just think there's massive hypocrisy. Again, things are going to change over the next several weeks, and I just think they put too much stock in anything Notre Dame does. I think it's fucking ridiculous. It's so absurd that they moved up 2 spots in the AP poll when they played like crap against Boston College. And other teams played much better over the last 2 weeks and have either been moved down or not moved at all. And I don't know. I never hear the reason why. It's never, I never hear it. Or it's some BS answer. If the question's asked, the committee chairman people will just dilly-dally and prance around it. Hey, Josh, search Pete Sheppard this morning, came up nothing. There were, I might have blocked you, Josh, by accident. There were a couple people that when I have my Facebook friends come up and like I have like 5,020 followers, but sometimes they're hacked accounts and they come in and they post ads. I might have deleted you by accident. So I'll go back at the end of the show and put you back in. I might have blocked you because there were a couple people on my Facebook page that were putting ads. You weren't one of them. I might have just hit the wrong button, so I apologize.
Yeah, it's been happening. That's a good point, though. Before you carry on, that is a really good point. That's been happening a lot lately on Facebook. People are they're duplicating other people's account or hacking them, and then you'll get the I'm broke, this, that, and the other, or something else. So yeah, things aren't done on purpose, but unfortunately, Facebook has gotten out of control with that stuff.
All right. Couple of things before we go to break. I want to show you, Angel, could you scroll down under Brett? I want to play the video of Billy O'Brien exploding on Mike Gutierrez, who was a play-by-play guy. I don't know Mike personally at all. Really don't know who he is. Play-by-play guy. I don't know who he does play-by-play for. I'm sure he does a good job. He has a podcast as well. He's a Boston College grad. But we'll play Dabo next. Go under that. Is I want to play Billy O'Brien first.
Yeah, wrong question.
So this is Billy O'Brien yesterday going off on reporter Mike Gutierrez did not like the question.
Coach, wondering, do you have a message for the fans? Obviously losing to Notre Dame Catholic school rival, 1-8 now in the season BC. I've heard from a lot of fans. They're just really down.
I'm really glad. I'm glad you're down. I'm not down. Nobody's down. We're fighting. We're competing. It's the second year of this program, Mike. You always come in here with these down questions. Like you show up like once a month or something like that. You come in here with these down questions. I'm not down. I don't know what year you graduated from BC, but this is a program that we're building. Okay. Nobody here's down. We're positive. We're going to show up and play our asses off against SMU. You can go out there in your dark, clouded world or whatever it is and do what you want to do. We're not down. The sun is up and we're fighting. That's my message to the fans. What's up, Trevor?
How you doing?
People are making T-shirts now. I saw it online. What's up, Trevor? That's going to be a seller when they play SMU this week at the Heights on Saturday. That's going to be a thing. You're going to see people "What's up, Trevor" T-shirts on. I don't know what Trevor is talking about. I don't know. Like I said, this guy Mike Gutierrez, I've never met him before. But look, the question was fine. I don't think he needed to put the Catholic school Notre Dame thing. You could have said, Joe Blow University. It wouldn't have mattered. 1-8 is 1-8.
Right.
what I would say to Billy O'Brien is, hey, it could be a lot worse. Go across the state down 91 and look at UMass and that fucking absolutely horrific, pathetic organization of a football team. And I don't blame the kids. I got into a discussion last night as UMass was getting annihilated by another pathetic team. Akron is almost as bad as UMass over the last decade. Akron is terrible. They clobbered UMass last night. Clobbered them. I wish I had $1 trillion. I would have put it all on Akron minus 10 or minus 10 and a half. The UMass football program, I've said it time and time again to people, is an absolute disgrace to college football. They are the Miami Dolphins right now of college football. That's what they are. It's a disgrace. And you can take your little pocket money you got from getting blown out by Georgia or getting money from the MAC conference that you had to join. I still don't know where that money is going to. I don't know what you spend on the football team, but I know for that state university, a lot of pride, and I don't say this lightly, you are an embarrassment to college football. You are going to bankrupt some of the teams, not only at your school, but UMass, there's UMass Lowell, there's UMass Boston. They can affect, because of that hideous football team losing millions of dollars every year, they can bankrupt your athletic department. See Temple many years ago. And you can also affect the other state schools, men and women's sports, because of being this pathetic. You lost 44-10 last night to Akron in front of about 12 people in Ohio. Think about that. Just hideous, embarrassing, absolutely embarrassing.
Is it worse, Pete, though, that, I mean, I applaud, Bill O'Brien by saying that obviously, we're doing fine, but is it worse that you're the reporter or the person covering media and he tells you, basically dimes you out by saying, I only see you around here once a month. I mean, I think that's even worse.
Hey, coaches notice that. Trust me. Oh, trust me. Coaches notice that, and sports information directors notice that as well. They know what you're doing. They know if you're submitting work and all that stuff. Trust me. When I was covering the Bruins, basically full time and going to morning skate and then covering the games at night in between doing shows and all that stuff, I can tell you myself, Mike Petralia, who's going to join us later at 9:00. He said he'd try, but he's going to. Otherwise, I'm going to fly to Cincinnati and beat him senseless. If you saw the X-rated text, you were going back and forth yesterday. It was ridiculous. But but so I remember, come playoff time, and you get, the national media wants to come in, or certain people haven't been there all year long, and they want good press seats. And Heidi Holland back in the day, God bless her, she's like, no. You guys can stand in the back, or you can do this. These are my guys and girls, some of them, and they're in their usual spots. They're here every day. So trust me, and that happens in all sports. The SIDs, sports information director people, and the public relations people that run the four majors know who's there and who is not. If it's not a daily basis, at least you're there for most of the time, and they do notice. It's like Super Bowl media. You get people that show up for the Super Bowl that don't know anything about football, or they're news anchors trying to be a sports anchor for a week. And most of them make fools out of themselves many times. So that's there's no question about it. I think the question was a good question. The question's fine. I got no problem with the question.
Right.
But Billy O'Brien is right. And it's stuff that Meter will join us later this week. He's brought up to me many times, because I sit there, it's like this, Boston College is underachieved, yet it's the second year. He's rebuilding this program, I think, and they've had massive injuries. There's no question about it. So I think you have to cut Billy O'Brien a little bit of latitude. I think they played about as well as they could last week against Notre Dame. And I think they forced Notre Dame, whether you want to say they were sleepwalking through that game or not, because they were favored, but they're favored by 30 points. It doesn't matter. Trust me, if Miami had played Boston College last week in the same scenario and only won by 15 instead of by the 30 that they were favored by, oh my God, they would have dropped in the polls. But not Notre Dame. We play like crap, and maybe BC makes us play like poo-poo, but nevertheless, we play like crap, and we move up a couple of spots in the AP poll, where other teams would have absolutely dropped. That's the hypocrisy. All right, so you heard from Billy O'Brien. Now, Dabo Sweeney, head coach of Clemson. He was on a roll yesterday as well, and he is not happy with the officiating system. I think he speaks for a number of people, not just coaches in college football, but people like me. So here's Dabo Sweeney. He's not happy. Not a happy camper.
It's impactful. So, as opposed to just getting a report on Monday, you turn in 10. We had a game. I'm not criticizing. I can't ain't gonna tell you the game. I'm not gonna say the game, but we're only allowed to turn in, there's a system of accountability, but y'all don't know anything about it. It's behind a curtain. How dare we have accountability? In the meantime, we got gambling issues going on, people being suspended, all that kind of stuff, right? Yep. I mean, refs are people too. It ain't just coaches and players, and if they're a part of the game, then by God, they ought to be a part of the game. And they ought to be a part of the accountability, and they ought to be a part of the consequences, not just behind some shadowy curtain. No, they ought to have to answer for it. And listen, there's judgment calls and all that, and I mean, we just have to disagree to disagree. But there's also absolute flat-out misses with no consequences. And and you get a shoot. We're allowed to turn in 10 calls. All right, and so we had a game earlier this year that we lost. I had 14 I wanted to turn in, but I only turned in 10.
I think it's the Syracuse game he's talking
All right.
about. I think.
I thought 8 were wrong, but got back. Yep, missed it. 5 of the 10 were wrong. And I mean, these are game-changing calls. Obvious pass interference, not called. That takes you off the field. But we just get this will be addressed with the crew and yada, yada, yada. Okay. Yeah, but you ain't there's no public accountability. Ain't none of that. So that's the system. The system needs to change. It needs to be changed. There needs to be challenge opportunity, and we need full-time officials. If you're going to have this type of stakes, it needs to be full-time officials.
Yeah, the full-time official thing, I don't know if that's the answer. It's debatable. I understand the pluses and minuses of it both, but it just, you suck. You watching a whole bunch of but some of the obvious calls he's talking about, and he's not alone. Right. He's not alone. Some of the obvious calls he's talking about, you can sit there as an official, just like and watch play after play after play, hour after hour after hour, 8 hours a day. And if you can't see some of these obvious calls, it doesn't really matter. If your judgment is that lax, then you're going to make a bad call, whether you're working 8 hours a day watching film or a part-time official. Most of these guys, as we know, in the college and pros, they have jobs. Some of them are professors at school. Some of them are lawyers. Some of them are businessmen, this, that, and the other thing. But you want to say something, Angel?
No, there was discussion about that. There was one of the guys here that I met locally down in the area. He started officiating like everybody else, started, juniors, high school, and finally got up to the college ranks. And he had talked about that at one point they were mentioning, like, would they even consider having an actual officiating school in college? Because he thought it would make a lot of sense. But that means you got to hire certain folks full time, and then you can't give every single ref full time pay, other than obviously during the contractual season.
And a lot of them are not going to leave their job. Like I said, they're teachers, they're lawyers, they're doctors. I mean, seriously, there's a lot to consider there. It'd have to be an overwhelming salary to leave your regular job to go be a full-time official.
Right.
So I don't know. All right, we're going to take a quick break. Then when we come back, we're going to get into the National Football League and the NFL trading deadline. We got some great stuff. Miami Herald columnist Omar Kelly. He's going to make Miami Dolphin fans cry even more when he was on the Joe Rose show yesterday. I think he echoes a whole bunch of WQAM in Miami, echoed how Miami Dolphin feel. We'll get into what happened with the Jets yesterday as well. We'll hear from their GM, Darren Moge, and a whole lot of other stuff, a whole lot of other football stuff going on. Hopefully an NBA and NHL recap. Bill Sparrows from bookies.com, senior betting analyst at 8:05. Mike Petralia, CLNS, Cincinnati.com. I can only imagine Watching him in the press box last week as the Bungles were losing that game to the Bears, I wish there was an ISO camera on him because I can just imagine. And also from the Jungle World podcast at 9 o'clock. And then the Big O, Massachusetts Broadcasting Hall of Famer, Glenn Ordway, live from Phoenix, or outside of Phoenix, near Phoenix, Arizona, will join me as well. All part of the Pete Sheppard Show on the Coastal Sports Digital Network. Phil Castaneda.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber, and I would like you to know.
Hang on. Jay jumped there.
Phil Castaneda, Sports World in Saugus, Mass. is New England's place to buy or sell the finest in sports memorabilia for over 35 years. Sports World has offered the finest in sports collectibles, so head on down there to Phil Castaneda Sports World at 184 Broadway in Saugus. Call 781-233-7222 for more information. Sports World in Saugus, be there. And again, you don't have to live in Massachusetts. Go online and check out all this unbelievable stuff. It's not just New England sports memorabilia. It's some great stuff. Also, for the best articles and audio, there's only one source that provides everything you need. 365 days a year to satisfy your sports crave. It's Total Sports Prep. Staff combing through the best articles and audio so you don't have to. Sports and non-sports kicker stories will leave you laughing all day long. To get your free trial of Total Sports Prep, contact them, info@sportsbroadcastingcoach.com. That's info@sportsbroadcastingcoach.com. Total Sports Prep, name says it all. Another thing in the Miami Hurricanes' favor that doesn't get brought. How about Florida? Florida beat Texas. Miami beat Florida, so Miami's better than Texas, right? See, that's the logic of the committee in some cases when it fits their narrative. And it's not, and if it doesn't fit their narrative, then it isn't. But they will throw that bullshit at you all the time. If for Notre Dame case, it works all the time. For Miami, doesn't matter. And some other schools. Anyway, that's all stuff next. Pete Sheppard Show. Until 10 this morning here on the Coastal Sports Digital Network.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber, and I would like you to know that our company has been selling Anderson windows for over 60 years. See the complete line of Anderson windows at any of our 3 locations in North Reading, Beverly, or in Plastown, New Hampshire, or at MoynihanLumber.com.
Hey everybody, it's Pete Sheppard from the Coastal Sports Network. Want to tell you about my good friend Lou DiMuzio and his company. Lou is the president and founder of Ace Technology Advisors. They're big-time tech specialists. At ATA, they're able to craft, implement, and manage the best and most appropriate solution for your business. They leverage their industry-leading experience and their portfolio of technology partners to improve your best practices and infrastructure. So you can get a hold of them at 888-599-4223. That's 888-599-4223. Check them out on their webpage, www.acetechadvisors.com. That's www.acetechadvisors.com. Or you can email them, sales@acetechadvisors.com. Check out my friend Lou DiMuzio and Ace Technology Advisors.
Right now, our country feels divided, but there's a place where people are coming together.
I gotta tell you, I was nervous to talk to someone so different than me.
Me too, but I'm glad we are.
Love Has No Labels and One Small Step are helping people with different political views, beliefs, and life experiences come together through conversation, and it feels good.
Wow, your story is so...
Interesting?
Yeah.
When people actually sit down, talk, and listen to one another, they can break down boundaries and connect as human beings. At lovehasnolabels.com/onesmallstep, you can listen to amazing, life-changing conversations and find simple tools to start a conversation of your own.
I know one thing. This conversation gives me hope.
It gives me a lot of hope, too.
Take a step toward bringing our country and your community together by having the courage to start a conversation at lovehasnolabels.com/onesmallstep. A message from StoryCorps, Love Has No Labels, and the Ad Council.
People do some pretty cool things in their 40s and 50s. Why should saving for retirement be any different? I mean, they go back to college, learn new instruments, start skateboarding. Whoa! Okay, maybe that one's not for everybody, but saving for retirement is. With aceyourretirement.org, you can get on track with your retirement savings no matter your age. Just have a 3-minute chat with Avo, the friendly digital retirement coach from AARP. You'll get personalized recommendations based on your input that are easy to understand and work with your lifestyle. It's quick, easy, and free. Plus, it's sponsored by AARP, so you know they got your back.
Woohoo! Gnarly move, Dad. Thanks, sweetie.
So wherever you are in your retirement savings journey, head to aceyourretirement.org and start chatting with Avo today. That's aceyourretirement.org. A message from AARP and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying, totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad, just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless, and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces, just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
The Pete Sheppard Show. It's fun for the whole family, if it's dysfunctional.
Darren, what was the genesis of the Colts talks? How long have you been talking to them? Did you contact them? How did it all materialize?
Yeah, Rich, good question. So throughout the year, I have a lot of discussions around the league with different GMs, and a lot of discussions with players, and you never know how they're going to materialize, but it was never something, again, like you hear them and you're like, I probably wouldn't do that, but we have our set values. We keep all those conversations private, and when it came down to the last few days, Indianapolis kept getting richer and richer with their value.
All right, that New York Jets GM Darren Mulgay yesterday, Rich Cimini, I believe, from ESPN, asked that question. Welcome back to the Pete Sheppard Show here on the Coastal Sports Digital Network. Thanks for checking us out across the awesome video platform. Following me on Twitter, on X at PShep326, across YouTube, Kick, Rumble, LinkedIn, CSD in Florida, Instagram, and we're going to be back on Odyssey app and 1029 SR1029thegame.com as well. And call or text the show 727-858-6650. And here's more from Darren Mulgay on negotiations with Indy.
And eventually, like I said, was too good to pass up. But I have a lot of conversations throughout the course of the year with different GMs, and this one materialized.
Yep. All right, it did, and also he talked about was asked about the message to the Jets and their fans after the trade deadline.
What would your message be, either to the team or the fans? You obviously got a lot of draft pick value, but you did just trade away two of your best players. So curious, what would your message to be about, what the goal is for the Jets right now?
Yeah, I understand the question. The goal is always to win. Look, these coaches and players work too hard every day, all day, with the goal of winning on Sunday, and that never changes, because that's what the fans deserve, that's what the players deserve, that's what the coaches deserve, and that never changes. I understand the trade deadline and different moving parts, but the goal is to always win on Sunday, and that's what we work to do all week, and that's how it is.
The goal is to win. Here's more about the Jets hanging on to Breece Hall.
Darren, Breece Hall, what went into, if you're going to trade these two guys, what went into not trading Breece? Because it would seem like the guy who's a pending free agent would be part of the teardown here.
I wouldn't call it a teardown, and I understand the question, but like I said, through these processes, we talk about a lot of things, and we field a lot of calls, and we've got values, and Breece is a talented player, and he's going to help us compete and win games the rest of the season.
No, he's not. No, he's not. There's not going to be a lot of wins the rest of the season, if any. If any. Last one from Darren Moge, the GM of the New York Jets. I was asked how much the 1-7 record factored into yesterday's deals.
How much did the record being 1-7, with the way the season's going, how much did that factor into today?
No, like I said, we have these processes in place to have these discussions throughout the season. When we start having those discussions week 4, and we're talking about a lot of things in those discussions with players and what the roster could look like, and contracts and values and compensation, and there's a ton of things that go into it, but we're very consistent throughout our process, regardless of the record.
No, you're not. No, you're not. The only thing consistent is you suck. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. I wonder how many Jet fans, like Dolphin fans, are selling their tickets for the rest of the season, whatever, how many home games they have left. I mean, why would you go there? I mean, why would you waste your money? All right. The other big deal was the Dallas Cowboys acquiring Pro Bowl defensive tackle Keenan Williams from the Jets and linebacker Logan Wilson from the Bengals. Here's Brian Schottenheimer on the Williams deal.
Played him a couple times, just played him a couple weeks ago. He's just a difference maker. Ability to affect the interior part of the pocket from a pass rush standpoint. I think 12 sacks a couple years ago under the tutelage. I'm not saying it was White Cotton that did it because Quinnen did it, but, around A-Dub, and very disruptive. I mean, for us, there's certain calls you make. You're aware when he's in the game because he's just so disruptive. So we had alerting calls when he was out of the game. We had to set protections based on him, and, you guys see it. You see the talent. But I love the play style too, just the way the guy plays, the way the guy runs the football. And then from what I've heard from A-Dub, just the type of young man he is, I think he'll fit in great in this locker room, and very exciting.
All right, let's go to Angels, Philadelphia Eagles from the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Here's Eagles GM Howie Roseman on why A.J. Brown didn't get dealt.
Well, would really like to keep this about the guys we acquired, but, Tim, I think that when you're trying to be a great team, it's hard to trade great players. And A.J. Brown's a great player. He wears the C for a reason. He's an important part of this team, of this organization. He cares about winning. He cares about his teammates. And I think that when you're a team like ours that is looking forward to an opportunity to compete for a championship, you just don't get rid of the guys like that. And so feel very lucky to have him on our team, and excited about the second half of the season with him.
Yeah, Jerry Versky on X with that. And you know what? I don't think it's going to be a big distraction at all. I don't. It's just kind of overblown. Let him be diva. Let him be AJ Diva. Now, here's more. Howie Roseman asked about Eagles trade rumors involving Brown star Myles Garrett and Micah Parsons.
Are you trying to get me fined by speaking of players on other teams? Is that your goal here, Jimmy? Well, I can see that being your goal.
The players aside, it does seem like you were willing to, make a big swing and trade multiple future first-round picks. Whether it's for those players or anyone else. What makes you comfortable? Trading away those kinds of draft assets?
I feel like when there's opportunities to be aggressive for the right players, we're not going to sit on our hands. I don't think that you have great success without taking great risks at times. They got to make sense in terms of the risks that you're taking. And so, can't be afraid to fail. I think for a lot of times, for you to get to the top, that you got to be willing to take chances that may look controversial at times. And so if there was an opportunity to do that, that we thought gave us also an opportunity to be the last team standing, put confetti on our head, we're going to go aggressive in that direction. I feel like that's the right way to operate our team. And that doesn't come without mistakes. I understand that. But, I won't live with regret. I won't live with regret in the way that we operate around here. And so if we feel passionate about something, if we think the value's right, we're not going to be afraid to pull the trigger.
Translation, Angel. Go back to Uncle Ben talking to Peter Parker / Spider-Man. With great power comes great responsibility. Before he was Spider-Man. There you go. That's all he had to say. That's all Howie had to say. That's all. Real simple.
That's it. By the way, Jerry in Rhode Island says, "Good morning, guys. The Jets have 3 or 4 first-round picks. Sooner or later, they're going to stumble into some good players who play for bad coaches. I think the Patriots should have done something."
Well, they tried. I think they tried several times to make a deal because Tennessee had everybody that they wanted. They had the edge rusher Arden Key, they had running back Tony Pollard, and they had wide receiver Calvin Ridley. But that little that owner, Amy Adams Strunk, wouldn't cut a deal with the Patriots because she hates Mike Vrabel. Other than that, a lot of the top teams, Indianapolis being one of the exceptions, maybe Seattle, everybody else kind of stood pat, didn't do a whole hell of a lot. The Cowboys, I don't know what's going to happen with them. I mean, Jerry Jones seems to think they're not a playoff team yet, and I don't think they're going to be. But he seems to think, Jerry's in his own little world. Jerry's world. Here's Mike Vrabel on not shaving for November and promoting Men's Health.
Mike had a two-part question. One football, one facial hair.
Yeah. It's trying. It's been a day. Don't look at me like that, Phil. It's been a day.
What's going on with that?
Well, partnered with Gillette. I've been excited to get this mustache back. It's been a while. So we're going to do Movember this year, and we're going to promote Men's Health. Obviously, Gillette does a lot for us, and I'm excited to help them. They're the leading sponsor for Men's Health here this month and the prostate cancer, and obviously the effect that it has close to us here, but making sure that we take care of ourselves, and you guys won't recognize me in another week. This thing will be flowing. So we'll see how that looks, and we'll go from there. But excited to do that and help promote Movember.
All right. Patriots getting ready to take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in a 1:00 game coming up on Sunday at Ray J. And we'll get more into that with Bill Spiros and maybe Glenn a little bit at 9:30 today as well. All right, Angel, if you could scroll down to what happened on WQAM yesterday, and it's down a ways. It's under Ain't That Right? Great show on this network. And this is Omar Kelly from the Miami Herald columnist on the Joe Rose show yesterday. Just hang on a second, Angel, before you play that.
Yeah.
And I want to throw this at you too. And this is this is from Cameron Sparks, just a kid from Kentucky who found his voice through sports. He says, "I do not speak hyperbole when I say the Dolphins have taken the place of the Browns as the worst NFL franchise to be a fan of." And he states, 0 playoff wins since 2000, over 25 different starting quarterbacks since Dan Marino, stadium built on an old Indian burial ground, 1 division title in 25 years, and quote, the year Brady got hurt week 1, failed to Drew Brees on his physical, so he instead signs with New Orleans. Dolphins brass member calling Mike Tomlin, quote, too hip-hop, I forgot about this, unquote, and hiring Cam Cameron instead, have the best color scheme in pro sports and have the most average uniforms, have the best color scheme in pro sports, yet have the most average uniforms in sports. He says a bunch of stuff I missed. Now, that being said, here's Omar Kelly, great columnist for Miami Herald, on with the Joe Rose show yesterday on WQAM. This will make Miami Dolphin fan feel a lot better.
You know, I'm probably on my 4th friend who has told me that they're canceling season tickets. They're not renewing. They've lost interest. I've got friends who say who I know they watch every second of Dolphins football. Who are like, I'm not even watching. I don't.
Yeah,
I don't
no, I've
care.
got
I
it.
don't wanna
I've got
watch.
it too. I got it from family. Even the family down here said, I'm done. I'm just.
Yeah.
I'm done. What do we do? I get that. What are we doing? I'm done.
It's not even what are we doing. It's I don't care. And I've always told fans, Steve Ross's worst nightmare is apathy. Is the fans not caring, and all of these people who are responsible for, getting the season tickets renewed, they're just being hung up on. They're just being told, when you fire Mike, you call me back. Where I'm not, and one guy was like, he's had his tickets for 20 years. He's got the greatest seats. He's like, I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the problem. And I went through this back in my day in the late 80s, early 90s with the Patriots, where they were begging media members to come. That's the worst thing any sports franchise could have in any sport around the country, around the world, is apathy. Fans saying, I don't care. They can be angry, but when they start saying, I don't care, that is a major, major issue. Why this doesn't sink in with Stephen Ross is beyond me. Absolutely beyond me. I promise you there will be a shitload of Buffalo Bills fans at Hard Rock this week. There will be. Hurricanes play at 3:30 on Saturday. The Bills play at 1 o'clock against Miami on Sunday. And there'll be way more Buffalo Bills fans there. And I hope Buffalo, even though I would like Miami to win for the Patriots' sake. And we'll see if Buffalo, how serious they take this game. They could sleepwalk through this game and probably win by double digits, win by 10. But I'd like to see them win by, I want to see them win by, I don't know what a convincing fashion would be to get Mike McDaniel out of there. And every day you hear Stephen Ross or people around him say, Mike McDaniel ain't going anywhere. And I still find that hard to believe if there is a general manager, whoever that may be, coming in, and he's not going to want to fire Mike McDaniel and hire his own coach. How Stephen Ross is going to Jedi mind trick that GM, because that's what we're hearing. The new GM is going to have to keep Mike McDaniel. I don't know how you accept that job. All right, before Bill Sparrows comes on, senior betting analyst from bookies.com, Angel, going to have to refresh right under the show. Our man Josh Prey, I just saw this. I haven't heard it. I haven't seen it. But he says, the title is, I Want to Be Trailer Trash.
Oh,
I have no idea what this is. Our great community friend down here in Southwest Florida from Immokalee and Naples. And he's a huge Florida Gator fan, but this seems to be out of the sports world. But he's always entertaining. I Want to Be Trailer Trash. I give you Josh Prey.
Boy, this should be good.
Am I upset? Yes, I'm upset because my whole life they told me, do you want to live in no trailer, a double ride trailer? This is a mansion trailer. This is the American dream. This trailer has 2 and 3 living rooms. This trailer has wall-to-ceiling floors, floor-to-ceiling windows, windows inside refrigerators. Look at the damn kitchen. That kitchen belongs somewhere when Macaulay Culkin was eating when he was 10 years old, and his daddy and mama got on the plane, and they nicknamed him Richard Rich. Look at the closet. They got walk-in closet. They got bamboo floors. They got headboards that don't hit walls. They got ceiling fans. I don't even know what that bar thing is, but I want one. They got a whole jacuzzi waterbed tub, man, and a double wide trailer. And y'all mean to tell me going to a bank, getting a loan for 9.86% on a $400,000 house in Naples, Florida, where it's 1 bedroom, 1 bath, and you got to share a parking lot where when you walk down the stairs, somebody sitting in the back of your car smoking a Black and Mild, and I can get a mansion trailer with 2 entire living rooms. Y'all can't. I want the new American dream. Double wide me, please. And I ain't talking about Roseanne and Lizzo making a sex tape. Double wide me, please. Double wide me, please.
He has got to be the funniest person on the planet right now.
Oh, that last line.
Remember, his house in Naples, and then, he talked about a couple weeks ago when the Gators lost about he can't afford to get buried in Naples because it's too expensive. He was at the cremation center. Oh, shit. He is funny. Funny. Oh, my God.
They have come a long way, though. Trailers have come a long, long way from where they first started.
Oh, they're unbelievable. They're absolutely amazing, some of them. I mean, an affordable. The only thing with the trailer park, and no matter how nice, is, you just got to be careful any major storms. But that looked like you said, it looked like a mansion.
Yeah. Imagine if you're single, like this, instead of like he said, getting that 9.8% interest rate. But if you're single, you got to spread like that. I mean, that's a nice freaking play, and that's not even because a lot of them now have the wraparound even decks on the outside now.
Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. All right, let's get to some more football stuff. I'll be waiting for Bill Sparrows to come on. He'll join me in a couple of minutes. Mike Petralia from CLNS Cincinnati at 9, and Massachusetts Hall of Famer, broadcast Hall of Famer Glenn Ordway will join us at 9:30 as well. Here's Jacksonville quarterback Trevor Lawrence on battling through adversity.
Yeah, I just think, the complementary aspect of our team, feeding off one another and having each other's backs. When maybe the first half, we didn't score really any points offensively, and the defense held them to 6. And then second half, we had to score more. And, I think we scored on our last, 4 or 5 drives or whatever it ended up being. So I think that's where you're seeing our team grow. And there's a lot of things that we still got to improve on and that we can do better. But, at the end of the day, you want to just win the game, find a way to win. And we were able to do that. And obviously, crazy ending there, but we found a way.
Hey, Pete, look up.
All right. What, Angel?
Look up.
Hang on one second, Bill. I got to get this cut in. This is Mad Dog Russo yesterday on Lee's talking about the Dodgers World Series parade and Joe Davis hosting it. Who's listen for yourself. And he's right.
When you're a national broadcaster and you're the voice of the sport on a big stage, when you did 1 million playoff games, and then they, in one of the crippling losses that a franchise is going to have in the history of the sport, that's as bad a loss as you're ever going to have. And I got Joe, basically the body's not even cold yet. And I got Joe at Dodger Stadium doing the freaking Dodger parade. Oh my God, that's bad. I'm sorry. I don't care what you say. You can say I'm screaming and yelling about nothing. That would piss me off if I'm a Blue Jay fan. I got Joe Davis shaking everybody's hand. Give me a shaking freaking Ohtani's hand, and he's freaking wacky, getting rings. He's the announcer for the World Series. You think Kirk Gowdy was getting any of this nonsense? You think Garagiola was doing the parade in '82 with the Cardinals?
Kubeck might have back then.
Oh, my God. And he's got the trophy right there. God, if you're a Blue Jay fan, you're vomiting right now. That is bad. I don't care what you say. That is, you could say I'm being hard. That's ridiculous, Chris. What's the big deal? He does the games. Nonsense. He's the voice of the World Series. He's supposed to be right down the middle. Obviously, he's rooting his ass off for the Dodgers in the World Series. And everybody who I spoke to hated the idea. They sensed he was rooting for the Dodgers throughout the World Series. And his call at the end was ridiculous. You got to be a champion and knock whatever he said about knocking a defending champion out. And then he's waxing poetic about Kershaw at the end of the game that nobody in America cared about. Oh, my God. That's bad. And that's wrong. And that's not the way you do it. I don't care. Call me anything you want. Call me an old man on a hill screaming, get off my lawn, say anything you want. That's bogus. The Dodgers should be in. The Dodgers should have done him a favor. Joe, you know what? You're the voice of the team. We just won a classic. Why don't you lay low here? We'll get somebody else to do this. Why don't you lay low? We'll get David Dassey does the pre and post. Why don't you lay low? This is not the time for you. You're the voice of baseball in postseason play. You can't be doing our parade, waxing poetic about us at the Blue Jays' expense. Wrong. Top of the hour.
Now, back in the day, as we welcome in Bill Sparrows, the Pilgrim. Is that the? Your Pilgrim. The Pilgrim.
Last week, you complained about my attire. Last week, so I got the top hat, I got the jacket. I'm dressed for the occasion. I don't want you to feel disrespected because you remarked about my clothing elsewhere. So I have dressed up accordingly.
You look absolutely fantastic. Bill Sparrows, senior betting analyst from bookies.com, joining us here on the Pete Sheppard Show on the Coastal Sports Digital Network. I will say back in the day, and it was a weird thing, and I was only 8 years old in '75 for the World Series, but don't forget, NBC, I don't think for the entire series, if I remember correctly, but at least for Game 6 and I think Game 7, they hired Dick Stockton, who was the Red Sox local play-by-play guy back in the day, at that time with Ken Harrelson. And Dick did a great job calling that game. without becoming overly infatuated with the Red Sox, even though certainly Game 6 is one of the greatest World Series games of all time. But the Joe Davis thing didn't bother me as much as it did Mad Dog. It happens. But anyway, good morning, Bill. How are you? How are you? Gobble gobble gobble. By the way, Plymouth Rock. I know you know this. I've told people all the time. When I was in first grade, we took an hour and a half field trip from Rhode Island to Plymouth to go see Plymouth Rock. Plymouth Rock is about that big. There's stones in your yard that are bigger. A little underwhelming. But anyway, welcome to the show, Pilgrim, Bill Sparrows. Thank you.
I dress for the occasion.
So how long have you had that? Or did you go trick-or-treating on Friday? And that's something that we didn't get to talk about.
I've had it for a while. Again, I only bring it out for special occasions. Like,
where do you get a hat like that?
Oh, this hat I got at the costume bin at Goodwill.
Oh, okay.
That's where I get all my props. I could wear a different hat every week if you want. But
what you usually do? You're usually very good.
This is obviously not good enough because.
No, I think it's great. The holidays are here, right? I don't know if you heard this. The holidays are here.
I was chided for my attire, and I accepted the challenge to step up my game. So here I am.
All right. Now, if you want to impress me, next time you're on Fox National or CNN National or all the other TV shows that you do are national, you wear that hat and that outfit, and then I'll really be impressed. Will you do that?
Maybe I'll be the the wizard or something.
Yeah,
I do have a wizard hat.
Yeah, it could be definitely Harry Potter or Dumbledore.
Perhaps I'll be the wizard. There used to be someone called the Wizard of Odds.
Yes.
I don't know if that person is still with us.
Handicapper, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that TV show with some of those other guys back in the day. Real quick, when does the Christmas tree go up in the Sparrows household?
After Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
Yeah, my wife's pretty firm on that. She's very much she's upset because the Christmas attire is out in the stores. The Christmas tree thing is up at Home Depot. The Christmas decorations are stocked.
But it's been that way since September in a lot of places. That's the problem.
Yeah,
you're not even allowed to get to Halloween.
Yeah, she wants to enjoy November.
Yes.
We enjoy November. I think in Florida, it's the best month of the year. Mm-hmm. And, let's enjoy November. And I think Thanksgiving's a little late this year. So once we get to Thanksgiving, we'll be, boom, it'll be a nice slide right into Christmas. But usually, that weekend after Thanksgiving, that's usually what we put up. We have artificial trees, so it's no big deal.
Me too.
So that's when we put them up, and the house looks really nice for about a month.
You are a go out for Thanksgiving type of person, stay at home with family type of people, or both, depending on the year?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's just the two of us this year, so we are debating whether or not to go out or just to make dinner. She wants to have leftovers, so I'm thinking we're going to end up having dinner at home and leftovers.
Yeah. Pluses and minuses to both. Yeah.
Yes.
I think the same thing as well. All right. I'm going to throw Trevor's story at you. Did that surprise you yesterday when he announced he's staying?
I had no feel on that. I just assumed he would opt out. So I guess the buzz said that he was going to opt in. Again, I really didn't have that on my radar. I just assumed he was going to opt out. I mean, I think it's good for the Red Sox that he's sticking around. He had a good year last year. He showed what he's capable of if he's healthy. And, he gave them stability at a position they have not had stability at in 4 years. So, yeah, I think it's good for them that he's sticking around. They know what the number is for him. And if you want to believe, and I don't necessarily believe this, but if you want to believe that the Red Sox are, trying to get their financial ducks in a row to make a run at some big names, including Bregman, this helps because they have a number. It's within what they expected. I'm, agnostic on Giolito. I don't know if he's worth it, but at the same time, I'm kind of over, the whole argument of is so and so worth it because it's not my money. The Dodgers spent $400 million this year and won the World Series, and they needed to spend every dime of that money to get past Toronto. I remember when the Red Sox were in Yamamoto.
Yeah.
They showed interest in Yamamoto. They allegedly offered him $300 million. I think that's about, as realistic as the $700 million in monopoly money they offered Juan Soto. But, so we're supposed to believe that the Red Sox were in on Yamamoto. But again, even if we want to buy that, the Dodgers paid him more money. And they also paid the $50 million posting fee. They gave him $325 plus 50. The Red Sox apparently were offering $300. I don't know what the posting fee was. So obviously the Dodgers offered more money. And that's normally what it takes when someone puts themselves on the free, the open market for their services. 100 out of 32 times they're going to take the most money. I think we got spoiled in a sense with Tom Brady, but most players, most athletes in most sports, as they should, they're going to take the most money, especially if you're coming over from Japan and the posting fee, matters because the team has to give up his rights. So, once again, Yamamoto is another example. They were in on Ohtani. Their story, you want to look them up. Oh, the Ohtani and the Red Sox and New Balance. There's something there. The Red Sox they're working on it. And, they weren't working on anything. They were working on their soccer team and, Linda Pizzuto's trip to Norway to see the lights or something. I don't know.
I agree with the Trevor Story coming back. Jared Duran signs a one-year deal yesterday. That's fine. On a scale of 1 to 10, though,
trade him now.
Yeah, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the most positive you could be about John Henry, where do you rank 1 to 10 as far as the Red Sox going to spend big time bucks on a Pete Alonso type or a Bregman type of that? Because I'm at a 1-2. I'm at 2 at the highest. I have no faith that they're going to spend any type of big time money. I'll believe it when I see it. It's like the Jets acquiring all these draft picks. I don't care. They'll screw it up. They'll find a way. I have no faith that John Henry is going to sign any big-time name anytime soon. It's a big-time money. How do you feel about it?
You said on a scale of 1 to 10?
Yeah, I'm on 1-2, meaning low.
Negative 63.
Okay, that says a lot.
Well, again, you have to understand what they do. They're gonna put. This past offseason, the Red Sox spent $1.1 billion in fake money on Soto and lefty Max Fried, who went to the Yankees. They offered, I think it was $1 billion in fake money for those two guys. So there's these idiots out there who think, well, the Red Sox almost spent $700 million on Ohtani. They almost spent. They didn't spend anything.
Almost.
They spent nothing. They spent zero. $0.00.
Tell me, since Daisuke Matsuzaka, when they outbid the Yankees, have they ever done that since? I don't think so. I don't think so.
No, they haven't outbid anybody because they don't do that anymore. And, I would love, there's about 6 questions I would love to ask John Henry. Not concerning his first 2 wives. Okay. And one of the questions would be, if you could spend $400 million and be guaranteed a World Series ring, would you do it? I'm not so sure he would. I think we know what it takes. The last guy the Dodgers spent $375 million on was the guy who got him over the hump in Game 6 and Game 7. So, it's like you got to spend the money. You got to spend the money to win in baseball. I think that's pretty obvious. Sure, if they're in a great spot, if all they want to do is make the playoffs, and the sheeple, look, if the sheeple are happy with them making the playoffs, and the sheeple are happy, talking about, they saved this money and this guy isn't worth it. you know, the Red Sox, I don't know if they do that Winterfest anymore, but if they have their winter weekend, Winter Wonderland,
At Mohegan, right? They have the big showdown there.
Bilderberg Rally,
Yeah.
and it's like, you know, the fans are like, bah, bah, you know, the soundtrack is bah, 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 all the sheeple. So that look, the Red Sox were doomed. When they got rid of Mookie Betts, and you had state-run media, fanboy media, and the sheeple, all went along with it, all talked about how he was washed up, all said, oh, this was a good trade. Oh, they shouldn't have paid him. And then he goes in and he's won the World Series 3 times in 6 seasons, I believe my math is correct.
Mm-hmm.
So once you cross that line, once you get rid of Mookie Betts, it's easy to get rid of anybody else. And the Red Sox did that, and the sheeple went along with it, and their Sheppards and state-run media and the fanboy sites all led the sheeple, and you know the sheeple dieth sucketh for the next 86 years.
Was Game 7 not in baseball history, when you take into consideration inning 1 through inning 11? Was that not the greatest Game 7 of all time? As I said earlier this week, you can talk about Bill Mazeroski home run. There's a couple of Game 7s that ended dramatically. But I'm talking about the entire package from inning 1 through inning 11, the drama that went into that entire game, right up until the finish. Has there ever been a better Game 7 in World Series history? I dare anybody to prove me wrong.
Look, I watched every pitch of the 1975 World Series.
Mm-hmm.
I was in the bleachers when Game 7 ended. Totally destroyed my childhood.
5-4.
Scarred me for life. Completely screwed me up. I watched every pitch of the 1986 World Series. I think I even watched every pitch of the 1991 World Series.
Yeah.
And I could say, at least in my lifetime, I think from front to back, this was the most exciting World Series and the best in terms of fan quality I've ever seen. And Game 7 is and I know everybody does this now, and it's like, oh, everything's the best ever. But in this case, I think it actually is. You know, how many times did each team have a chance to win that World Series? At least 3. You know, you talk about the Red Sox in '86. Well, that would have been like if the Mets also blew it 3 times, right? You got to remember in '86, it was only the Red Sox who blew it.
I know, but you remember, but people forget '86, and it was bad enough losing Game 6, and then I had to drive back from my girlfriend's house at the time from Western Mass back to Rhode Island, 2.5 hours. And you remember, it was rained out. Game 7 was rained out for that Sunday night, so they're playing on Monday night.
Yep.
And people also forget that Gedman and Evans hit back-to-back home runs. The Red Sox are up in Game 7, 3-0 in the 5th inning, until they weren't.
Yeah, well, they were up 3-0.
It made it even worse. I would have rather seen them. I mean, because you still got that residue of, oh my God, Gedman and Evans, 3-0. Here we go. We can do this. We can win Game 7. Bruce is going to pitch great. Roger's going to come in and shut him down. And I still remember Vince Scully going, it may be too early for Clemens, but then again, it's very, very late. And that was after the Mets tied it up. But anyway.
Well, you got to remember, in 1975, they also led Game 7 3-0. So I think in that point, '86, I knew they were screwed.
Yeah. And they lost 5-4 to the Reds, right, in Game 7, if I remember correctly.
4-3.
Oh, 4-3, yeah.
Tony Perez hit the moonshot.
That's right, yeah.
And then Joe Morgan drove in the game winner in the
little flare over second base, right over Denny Doyle's head.
Right in front of me,
Yep. Damn it. Well, we've got a few titles. We got a few titles since then. All right.
Oh, yeah. It did destroy my childhood. I mean, there's no getting that back. That's why I always tell people there's never going to be enough parades for me, because it's like Rosebud, right? You lose Rosebud, you're never getting it back. You can build San Simeon and your newspaper empire like Charles Foster Kane, but he never got his sled back.
Yeah.
And that's the way that I think me and a lot of folks of our generation are with the Red Sox. We're never getting the sled back. So it doesn't take a whole lot for that ugliness to come out. It's always there. I'm happy for my kid. I'm happy in a sense for my parents because they weren't alive to see it. But, for those of us who remember those days and lived through them, it's always there. It's always going to be there. And that probably triggers a lot of my rage toward this current ownership group, despite their success, because I got some definite trauma in there, and I don't think I'm ever going to work it out.
Well, I feel the same. I mean, I was 8 years old in '75, and I was upset. I cried when they lost that Game 7, watching with my dad. But the biggest trauma for me it was definitely '86. '78 was bad enough for me at 19 years old. '86 was the one that was the dagger, as they say, because it was so emotional between Dave Henderson doing what he did against the Angels and that comeback they made, being up to the whole shebang. And then I remember a buddy of mine dropping me off after Game 7 at my house. I was still living with my parents at the time. And I just remember going up, gingerly walking up the stairs, not because I was drunk or my whole body was not. And to this day and age, sad to say, I've never had sudden deaths in my life, relative wise. They were always, so I knew kind of it was coming. So obviously horrible. You lose your parents, you lose certain relatives, and you feel bad. But outside of that, I'm walking up the stairs gingerly, and I get up to the first floor, and my dad is just waiting there, and my dad was only like 5'9", I'm 6'2", even then I was tall. I collapsed in his arms. He brought me to I was sobbing so horrible, like he thought I was going to have a nervous breakdown, because you invest so much time and so much energy into a certain thing. And people who aren't sports fans, I actually feel badly for them, and I can tell you this, after and it took me I didn't talk to anybody for 2 weeks, literally did not talk to anybody for 2 weeks, except hello to my parents, and that was it. I wouldn't talk to my sister. I wouldn't talk to friends. I would go out for long walks in Narragansett on the beach. Literally, it was like something out of a movie, and it affected me for a long time. You just try to block it. It's silly because, we care way more about them than they do about us,
Well, that's,
The chat commentary said in the Bronx Tale, go ask Mickey Mantle if your dad can't pay the rent. See what he says, But that's the part. That was the dagger for me. Was that game, particularly Game 7? How it obviously Game 6, but Game 7, even it's stuck and even twisted because we're up 3-0 and then lose 8-5.
Well, that's one thing I think this ownership group doesn't quite understand. They're not of here. John Henry grew up in Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
Linda Bizzuti claims she didn't know who the owner of the Red Sox was when she met him, but we're supposed to believe she was a fan. They don't get it. They own the team, but we love the team, so to speak, and it's a different relationship. And they don't understand. John Henry's a numbers guy. He just looks at the numbers and says, "Hey, we've won 4 World Series in 20 odd years. Why are you people upset?" And because it's like having to eat or whatever. It doesn't go away. You got to eat the next day. It's the same thing with this. You don't. I mean, if you're happy about what the Red Sox did in 2018, that's God bless you. Then you should walk away. I actually wrote a column about that. I said this may be the best time to just walk away from the Red Sox after the 2018 season. And maybe I did in a sense a little bit. I mean, I have to be honest. I don't really care as much about them as I did in the past. And part of that is because, they had won so much. But I don't like, being played for sucker. I don't like being lied to. I don't like when they pretend to be something they're not. At least and maybe it's because of the salary cap, at least in hockey, you don't get that anymore with the Jacobs family. Everybody spends the same amount of money, more or less. Yeah. So you can just say they're snake bit or incompetent or whatever. But, the Red Sox, it's like, oh, we want to be a team and we want to play in October. And they just literally didn't mean one day in October. They're going to get you on that one. They're going to say we gave you October baseball all the way to October 2nd. Which, again, we lost to the Yankees again on October 2nd. No, that doesn't mean anything, does it, folks? Oh, no. Yeah, it means that, of course, they lose to the freaking Yankees on October 2nd. Duh.
Yep, and now they're going to raise ticket prices again, which they will, probably 10% or more. And you'll still have a ton of people go, and they'll hype it up. And you'll see Garrett Crochet on the cover of the media guide this year. And unless they go revert back to their old ways. I have zero confidence, like yourself, that John Henry is going to spend any type of real money on players. And they're 23rd in payroll this year. I mean, that's a joke. That's an abomination.
And they're always going to have their apologists and state-owned and state-run media and the fanboys who get credentials, so they have to kiss their ass. They're always going to have an excuse. And you know what the excuse you're going to have to start to hear this? And people perhaps maybe ought to start talking about it a little bit more. It's lockout after next season. So, their argument's going to be, well, there's going to be a new CBA after next season. There's going to be a lockout in 2027. So maybe perhaps, you're going to have like the think piece, like the Globe baseball think piece or the internet baseball think piece about why it's foolish to sign players to a long-term deal when there's a new CBA. And the whole, and all of that crap is just smoke. So that people think it's like their money, like, oh, it's good the Red Sox and Patriots. Oh, the Patriots saved a lot of draft.
Doesn't that crack you up? Doesn't that anger you?
Why did the Patriots get like everybody yesterday? They actually have a chance to like make it to the Super Bowl this year. They should have got everybody. They have $40 million in cap space, but they didn't do anything. It's the same with the Red Sox. Oh, well, gee, John Henry, who gives a flying frig about John Henry's money? It's like, it's not your money. It's his money. I don't care if the Red Sox have to spend $400 million. Somebody spent $400 million and they won the greatest World Series ever played. And I watched every pitch in 1975, so I can say that. So maybe that's what it takes.
Yeah, it does. And moving on to the Patriots, I'm not one of those people that is getting my boxers in a bunch, as Jerry Callahan once said on our show way back in the day, because there are a lot of minor moves made, mostly. There were the major moves by the Cowboys, and obviously the Indianapolis Colts made a major move. But I know from several people that I talked to yesterday, look, they tried with Tennessee. They had three players that they went after. They went after Arden Key, the edge rusher. They went after Tony Pollard, the running back, and they went after wide receiver Calvin Ridley. What are you going to do when you have Amy Adams Strunk, who hates the Patriots and doesn't want to negotiate with Mike Vrabel? What are you supposed to do? Look, I know Booty's out. Probably we'll see what his status is going to be this week, and I think Ramondre Stevenson is going to return. I understand all that, but I'm not sitting here because if you look, besides Indianapolis and Seattle getting Rashid Shaheed, which is a good move for them, everything else, I mean, Jalen Phillips to Philadelphia, okay. The rest of it, everybody's in the same boat. You didn't see the Buffalo Bills make any major type of moves. You didn't see the Chargers make any major type of moves. It wasn't there. I don't know what was available. I know that those three guys in Tennessee, I know the Patriots wanted at least one of them, if not two of them, to go after them, and they weren't going to get them because that owner is prejudiced against the Patriots because of Mike Vrabel. I don't know what else they could have done. I know the numbers are there. They got Jerry Rice's son off the waiver wire in the practice squad from the Chargers, but it is what it is. I'm not gonna go Tasmanian devil because I didn't make some big major move.
They got Jerry Rice's son. Is Frank Sinatra Jr. going to sing the national anthem? I mean, who cares a song?
No, I know. I always thought Frank Sinatra Jr. actually sung pretty well. Believe it or not.
It's like the Red Sox signed John Henry Williams. Like, oh my goodness, you got a chip off the old block. He hit 400 if you take his average over 4 seasons and add it up. Now you sound like the Red Sox beat writers and columnists.
Well, who'd you want? I mean, look, if you want to say
I want everybody.
Rashid Shaheed I wanted Kamara, but I don't know what or Breece Hall. But apparently the asking price, I don't know what the official asking price was. The Jets gave away everybody yesterday, it seemed. So I don't know. Should they have been more aggressive to go maybe acquire Breece Hall? Possibly. I don't know exactly what the Jets wanted for him. I don't know what and the Seattle trade for Rashid Shaheed, I'm still not sure who they got. That's somebody that they could have used. There's no question about that. I'm not really sure. That's the one. I mean, who would you have gone after?
I would have look. I wasn't in the room. I don't know. All I know is that you're 7-2. I don't know what's going on with this number with Tampa only favored by 2.5 points at home. I don't know what's going on there. That I don't. I'm picking the Patriots, but it's almost like a double reverse because I'm thinking they should get smoked. But why is this number under 3 on Tampa?
Well, I don't expect them to get smoked. I mean, Booty is definitely going to be. We'll know today, tomorrow.
I think Drake May is going to get like murdered.
Well,
So
he could if he doesn't get rid of the ball quickly. And if Ramondre Stevenson isn't back, and Travion Henderson can't run the ball a little bit, because that defense is going to be that front seven is fantastic.
Yeah, you can't run on the Bucks, and you saw what happened last week when the Patriots couldn't run the ball in the second half.
Yeah.
So they've got plenty of film from Atlanta on how to stop the Patriots run. I mean, the one reason why I actually picked the Patriots this week, it's because the Bucks don't have that Drake London type deep threat. They got a freaking great tight end.
Yeah, Godwin's out, probably going to be out again.
I mean that's the problem too. Is all their skill guys are out, so I can see that. I could see that argument. Obviously, no Mike Evans, right?
No,
but
for the year,
I would think this line would be a little at least 3. But
Bill, they're probably waiting for the injury report to come out for the Patriots to see if Stevenson's going to play and Booty going to play. Because if both of those guys don't, then I think you're going to see it go up to 5, something like that. I think it's. I think they got to wait.
For play both ends if you get that number.
Oh yeah.
But so I'm gonna go all in on Drake May this week just because I think he's shown that ability. I go back to that game in Buffalo, and so he's sort of done this already. Like if they if they come down here and win, it shouldn't be a surprise because they've done it. They did it in Buffalo, and it'll be probably a little bit more hospitable to them. It's a day game. There's going to be a lot of Patriots fans there, except the guy who was supposed to go with me who couldn't make it. So there'll be one fewer Patriots fan.
And I apologize that I can't make it.
Yeah, that's all right. So the point is, there's going to be a lot of. It will be it won't be that bad a crowd. It won't be as bad as night in Buffalo. I just still, I'm almost glad that the Patriots struggled in the second half. It's like they got the bad part out of their system.
Sign of a good team, right? When you don't play at your best and you still find a way to win.
Yeah, and hopefully, you look at film, like Drake May has a lot of film to look at this week of, okay, I can't do this, I can't do that. And he had learned, and then he backs it a little bit, which is okay. So this week is very important for them in a lot of different ways. We'll know, you'll know for sure if and how far this team is going to go in the playoffs after this week. I mean, if they manage to win this game, or maybe lose it on a missed field goal or something very close, if they can stay competitive, then you're going to be like, damn, they're legit. Like they're legit. They're like, let's put them in the top 5 conversation type thing, because they're getting very little notice nationally still.
Yeah, well, ESPN people are ridiculous.
Yeah.
And, I see Chris Canty's Power 5 rankings yesterday morning, and the Patriots have won 6 in a row. No other team has done that this year, and you still have people are looking at the schedule. And I'm glad Vrabel said what he said earlier this week. What do you can only they've done,
the schedule thing is
supposed to do. I mean, they've done everything. Look, why didn't Green Bay beat Carolina 2 touchdown favorite?
Exactly.
I mean,
that was the biggest upset of the year on the number
by far.
Yeah, and you've seen a lot of these big numbers get covered too. Like I actually picked Carolina. It's one of the few games I got right last week. It was 4-7-1 on last week.
That's what I was. I was 4-7-1 was my worst.
Well, the favorites with 4-7-1 on Sunday. Yeah. So, it was. I think Carolina's a really good team, but Carolina, New England. Well, the Patriots, they missed that cover last week, but they've been doing really well against the spread. They're 5-3, I think it is. Yeah, 5-3 on the number. Carolina's 5-3 on the number. So it tells you that these teams are performing above expectations because they're covering. So obviously I don't think they get much of a discount, at least up until this week. They really haven't gotten much of a discount from, odds makers at all, maybe after the first week or two. So the numbers caught up with the Patriots, I think, before a lot of other people did. And the fact is, I just think they have the potential, and I think they missed an opportunity this week. Again, how many times do we see this with the Red Sox where they didn't make a move at the deadline and then the locker room just got deflated and faded down the stretch? I don't know if that's a thing in football. I don't know if the other. I'm sure the players are probably happy because they kept their jobs, right? If there were no trades, and so maybe the Patriots look at that and say, "Hey, these guys have faith in us. Let's go kick some ass." Maybe that I would buy that argument, and the fact that Robert Kraft has $40 million in cap space that he doesn't want to spend.
What did you think of the ultimate snapshot on Sunday? Cardi B and Robert Kraft. I was thinking of you. I was going to text you. I was going to say, Bill's going to put a still shot of this somewhere in back of the studio. In fact, I'm surprised you didn't put it on your pilgrim hat there.
It's not a pilgrim hat, Pete.
Oh, you know what I mean. I'm sorry.
It's a like Dickensian top hat.
Oh yes.
No, I if the Patriots had kind of won this game, they were headed to that. If they had kind of blown them out, the only story of the game would have been Cardi B. It's like, is she the new Giselle or not? And I mean, think about this.
Yeah.
Think about this. And I'm thinking about this, and I'm going to marinate on it. Imagine Patriots and Chiefs in the playoffs, and you have Cardi B and Taylor Swift.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Same freaking stadium.
In Foxborough.
In Foxborough, and RKK is going to have Cardi in one arm and Taylor in the other. And, if I think it would be really cool if they're both at the game and he gets a picture of both, and he's wearing like a white suit, like a fully white suit, and this hat. And it would be, it's awesome. It would be so cool. But you're going to think about Cardi B and Taylor Swift.
How about they both sing at halftime out together?
Well, yeah. And she's going to have, she kind of looks like she's ready to pop.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe she'll have the kid by then. I'm kind of thinking she will.
Steph
So
Jr.
she'll be there with the little kid whose father legally is her husband because they're still married. That's a whole other story. That'd be like 6 columns.
Yeah.
And, so she'll be there with little Steph the 15th, and Taylor Swift will be there, and everybody will be speculating on whether or not she's pregnant. It'll be awesome. It'll be like the good old days. And, someone needs to tell Cardi B that she needs to get on tape saying, my husband cannot catch the ball and throw the ball. And that would be like the freaking circle of life. That's like Simba.
Except she would be a little more, how can you say, more colorful metaphors. I could see a lot. She wouldn't just say, "I can't catch the ball." That mofo, she's like a truck driver.
Use your imagination about what Cardi B might say could catch or throw the ball, as opposed to Giselle, who just said it. But that's what I want. I want that full circle moment where we get Cardi B after the game saying that my baby daddy can't catch the ball and throw the ball. And that will complete the circle of life.
Oh, my God. All right, Bill Sparrow, senior betting analyst from bookies.com. Final thing, as usual, shifting over to the gambling world. Anything new and exciting happen? And I know something always does, but anything new and exciting happening or about to happen since we spoke last week?
Well, this isn't a political thing, but the prediction markets, once again are touting their greatness after the results from last night, because their numbers bore out. The people who won were heavily favored to win. There was kind of a little bit of shenanigans going on, but to their credit, and there's A poly market is available in the U.S., but only to a certain number of people. They haven't really launched fully yet. Kelce, you're going to start to hear a lot more about them. They were very smart. What they did was they blanketed New York City with ads the last couple of days about the election. And they had like Mondani at like 92%, Cuomo at like 8% to win. And of course, that's like a money line. That's not a spread. So I would imagine the money line was probably like, minus 500 versus plus 350 or something. So it's not that far off from what like a set number would have been if books were taking action. But what they did was very smart. They blanketed New York City with these ads. And that's, of course, the media capital of the world. So they got, the media people looking at their stuff.
Yeah.
And so last night you had these political analysts talking about betting markets and how accurate the betting markets were. Of course, there's going to be a Supreme Court case next year to decide whether or not these are betting markets or prediction markets. It's a distinction without a difference, but it matters a whole hell of a lot to 50 states.
Do you think those justices, when they see that type of, they go, oh, Jesus, like, we got to do this, Don't we have anything else better to do? But, or do you think like they look at it as a challenge?
The court?
Yeah.
Oh, no, they're the ones who ruled that, no, this was, what people need to understand is the reason why you have sports betting in 39 states was because the Supreme Court in 2018 said it was legal. So, no, I mean, this is kind of again, if, just think about this. In 2018, the Supreme Court said that sports betting is an issue that should be determined by the states because there's no federal law that deals with it one way or another. They struck down the federal law that dealt with it at the time and said this law was bad law. This is an issue that should be decided by each state. And now we have 38 states. Missouri launches next month, 39. But when these prediction markets, they call them trades, but of course everybody they want it both ways, right? They want the media to say this is betting because people understand what betting is. But then when they go argue in court, they say, "Oh no, we're not betting. We trade. You're trading. You're trading against someone else. You're not betting against the house." So it's a distinction without a difference for the people participating. But for the people who run these markets, if the court determines that these sports-related trades are bets, then they have to go through the same state-by-state regulatory process as DraftKings. If the court determines that these are not bets and they're just going to keep what they're doing in all 50 states, what people don't realize is that DraftKings and FanDuel and everybody else is going to start doing the same damn thing. So that's really like the biggest issue that's overriding the betting space right now. And you saw it manifested again last night. And of course, being who I am, I get into the weeds on this stuff, even with the prediction market people, because they still like to use bets, the word bet, which again, it does matter. Again, you're talking about a court ruling and what constitutes a trade, what constitutes a wager, and what are the rules within the organization that regulates these trades, and it's just all this legal stuff that's very minute, but like everybody knows, it's the minute stuff that matters in a lot of court cases, right? It's the minutia that matters. Mm-hmm. And here, you can interpret the minutia either way. And I don't make a call as to what's going to happen, or I should say how it's going to break out. I mean, if you really want to get cut to the chase, it's going to come down to 3 Supreme Court justices deciding whether or not sports trades are bets or are they just sports trades. That's what this is all going to come down to. But it matters to people because if what you can do on Kelce right now is determined not to be sports betting, not only is Kalshi and Polymarket and Robinhood and others going to explode, you're going to have DraftKings. They already announced their own prediction market. FanDuel partnered with a company that builds prediction markets. So you're going to have a FanDuel. You have DraftKings predicts they're going to launch next year doing everything but sports. FanDuel probably follow them a little bit later. They're building their own company. DraftKings bought a trading market. They're just going to put their name on it. So you're going to be able to bet on politics through DraftKings like you do through Kalshi and Polymarket. That's going to all come next year. So for people who like to bet or trade, it just means you can trade on everything. You can trade on the weather. You can trade on politics. You can trade on the color of Taylor Swift's dress. You can trade on all this stuff that you're not allowed to bet on because of the regulations that govern sports betting. So there's going to be more action, for lack of a better term, for a lot of people. And if you really get into it, and I kind of know what I'm going to do now when I retire, is I'm just going to look at all these different trades and just try to hedge and make like 4% on everything every day.
That's what a good bookie does legally.
That's what I'm gonna. Well, the problem is you can't do that now because all the books are. You don't get the spread. But with this is kind of a throwback to the original days of offshore sports betting when it was illegal and you had onshore books in Vegas. Like if you're in, a lot of people would go to Nevada, they would look at lines that are posted at casinos, and they would look at the offshore books online and try to find the variance, and there were spreads all over the place. Can't do that anymore but you can still do it like in some of these trading markets if you really dig into it. It's like day trading, except you're trading.
Yeah, it's legal. That's what I used to say all the time. Stock market, day trading, it's legalized gambling. But now you can, on all these sites though, you might have to pay a tiny bit more juice, but you can buy line. You can buy half a point, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's all right there. You don't even need to go to different books. You can do it right there if you're willing to pay the juice.
Yeah, and again, it's I don't. I'm not going to be here to see it, as they like to say. I'm not going to get there with you, but yeah, there's going to be a day when all this is figured out. And it's the legal issues have been settled, and then you have a wide open competitive marketplace everywhere on betting and trading. If the court rules a certain way, if it doesn't rule a certain way, the worst case situation is status quo, which for degenerates isn't that bad. But no, someday, and I'm critical of prediction markets as I am critical of sports books, but I get accused of being anti-prediction. I love prediction markets. My boss loves prediction markets. We have deals with Kalshi. We'll have deals with Polymarket, I'm sure, once they go nationwide, and everybody else. I like prediction markets, but I also like the rule of law and fairness and honesty. And I'm going to call them out when they're not being fair. I'm going to report when they get sued. And, if they're trying to be disingenuous, I mean, I post good, bad, and ugly about sports betting all the time and write about it all the time. We just had the biggest freaking betting scandal in 20 years. And, I was like the friggin' AFTRA member last week. So I don't really, again, I'm just sort of trying to tell people what's going on. And with these prediction markets, it's going to take a year or two to flush out. That's why the stocks are getting hammered, like DraftKings and FanDuel. Those stocks are getting hammered because the short-term uncertainty of what's going to happen. Long-term, they're going to be fine because they're going to get into these prediction markets and they have marketing muscle. They have 20 and 30 million customers. So I think in the long term, they're going to be fine. But, the question is how long is your window as an investor? Can you hold, I think if you can hold DraftKings or FanDuel, Flutter, if you can hold those stocks for 2 years, I think you'll be in great shape. But in the short term, there's a lot of turbulence and unknown, right? Nobody likes the unknown. That's always a default position. Sell in the unknown. When in doubt, take the under.
Bill, you're the best. Bill Sparrows, bookies.com, senior betting analyst. I commend you to read all his stuff. You're looking more like Harry Dumbledore, the wizard there, or whatever. But yeah, but we will talk again next week. Enjoy Tampa. Should be a beautiful day. I'm looking at like 80 degrees and low humidity, so that should be have fun. Have fun with all the Patriot fans that are going to be there.
Okay, thanks, Pete.
All right, but there he goes, Bill Sparrows, just like that. Angel, going to take a quick break. And did you get my text about Mike Petraglia? I think he has the link, but I'm not sure. I think he's got it. Anyway, Ralph, I'll read your text when we come back. Quick break. Mike Petraglia, CLNSCincy.com and Jungle Roar Podcast will join us next. Talk about the Bungles. They're off this week. And life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and anything else Trags wants to talk about. All here on the Pete Sheppard Show on a Hump Day Wednesday on the Coastal Sports Digital Network.
Hi, folks. This is Gerard Moynihan of Moynihan Lumber, and I would like you to know that our company has been selling Anderson windows for over 60 years. See the complete line of Anderson windows at any of our 3 locations in North Reading, Beverly, or in Plastown, New Hampshire, or at MoynihanLumber.com.
Hey everybody, it's Pete Sheppard from the Coastal Sports Network. Want to tell you about my good friend Lou DiMuzio and his company. Lou is the president and founder of Ace Technology Advisors. They're big-time tech specialists. At ATA, they're able to craft, implement, and manage the best and most appropriate solution for your business. They leverage their industry-leading experience and their portfolio of technology partners to improve your best practices and infrastructure. So you can get a hold of them at 888-599-4223. That's 888-599-4223. Check them out on their webpage, www.acetechadvisors.com. That's www.acetechadvisors.com. Or you can email them sales@acetechadvisors.com. Check out my friend Lou DiMuzio and Ace Technology Advisors.
Right now, our country feels divided, but there's a place where people are coming together.
I gotta tell you, I was nervous to talk to someone so different than me.
Me too, but I'm glad we are.
Love Has No Labels and One Small Step are helping people with different political views, beliefs, and life experiences come together through conversation, and it feels good.
Wow, your story is so...
Interesting?
Yeah.
When people actually sit down, talk, and listen to one another, they can break down boundaries and connect as human beings. At lovehasnolabels.com/onesmallstep, you can listen to amazing, life-changing conversations and find simple tools to start a conversation of your own.
I know one thing. This conversation gives me hope.
It gives me a lot of hope, too.
Take a step toward bringing our country and your community together by having the courage to start a conversation at lovehasnolabels.com/onesmallstep. A message from StoryCorps, Love Has No Labels, and the Ad Council.
People do some pretty cool things in their 40s and 50s. Why should saving for retirement be any different? I mean, they go back to college, learn new instruments, start skateboarding. Whoa! Okay, maybe that one's not for everybody, but saving for retirement is. With aceyourretirement.org, you can get on track with your retirement savings no matter your age. Just have a 3-minute chat with Avo, the friendly digital retirement coach from AARP. You'll get personalized recommendations based on your input that are easy to understand and work with your lifestyle. It's quick, easy, and free. Plus, it's sponsored by AARP, so you know they got your back.
Woohoo! Gnarly move, Dad.
Thanks, sweetie.
So wherever you are in your retirement savings journey, head to aceyourretirement.org and start chatting with Avo today. That's aceyourretirement.org. A message from AARP and the Ad Council.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting. A teenager. Learning the lingo.
Today I'm going to help parents translate teen slang. Now, when a teen says something is on fleek, it's exactly like saying, that's rad. It simply means that something is awesome or cool. Another one is totes. It's exactly like saying, totally, just shorter. As in, I totes love going to the mall with Becca. Another word you might hear is jelly. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will think you're, rad, just the same. To learn more, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
This is the story of a very special woman. In a matter of seconds, she turned herself into a great mathematician or an entrepreneur. Her knowledge was limitless and still is. She could also make monsters disappear, especially those that lurked in the shadows under the bed. Once, this woman put back together a teenage girl's broken heart, which had been shattered in 1,000 pieces, just by giving her a bear hug. She masqueraded as a regular person at work, but as a superhero at home. Everyone knows her as Gabriella. I still call her Mom.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need to help, complete with tips and resources at aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Don't spaz out because your team lost. Let Pete do it for you. Now, back to the Pete Sheppard Show.
Obviously losing to Notre Dame Catholic, school rival, 1-8 now this season in BC. I've heard from a lot of fans. They're just really
I'm really glad. You know, I'm glad you're down. I'm not down. Nobody's down. We're fighting. We're competing. You know, it's the second year of this program, Mike. You always come in here with these down questions. Like you show up like once a month or something like that. You come in here with these down questions. I'm not down. I don't know what year you graduated from BC, but this is a program that we're building. Nobody here's down. We're positive. We're going to show up and play our asses off against SMU. You can go out there in your dark, clouded world or whatever it is and do what you want to do. We're not down. The sun is up and we're fighting. That's my message to the fans. What's up, Trevor?
Bill O'Brien going off on Mike Rattiri yesterday and very upset. And they are, from what I understand, printing up the Trevor. What's up, Trevor? T-shirts. Welcome back to the Pete Sheppard Show here on the Coastal Sports Digital Network. I think Crazy Man Mike Petrelli is going to join us out, my brother from another mother, out in Cincinnati very shortly here. And then Glenn Orway at the bottom of the hour. Ralph says, hang on, I need my glasses. Ralph says, this week of the Pats, the biggest test since Buffalo, even with Tampa Bay's missing skill players. Yes, blah, blah, blah. Our players could be out as well. Tampa Bay's D is impressive. Front is paramount. And the Pats securing a victory on the road in the NFC. Our D needs to step up and make Mayfield's day a miserable one with little time to throw to these backups and their only starting wide receiver, Bikia. Yes, he's very good. Is Bucky Irvin playing? I got to see if Bucky Irvin's playing. Anyway, look, I think it's going to be a tough game. This is, depending on, I'll feel a lot better if Booty and Stevenson are in the game. But right now, I'm looking at, is Bucky Irvin going to play? I get the feeling that he is going to play. My understanding is he's going to play in this game. So let me see. No, maybe not. He's still on the injured list here, as far as I know. But go ahead. Okay. So then you have Rachaad White, who's been very good in his stead. There's no question about it. And just Tampa Bay just finds ways to win. They just find ways to win. Doesn't matter. The heat will not be a factor in the Bucs game. No, I don't think it will either. I think it's be low humidity and very low humidity. Hang on, I got to check my. You know when you get on the thread while you're working and it has nothing to do with the show, but it gets stuck and pulled into all these threads. Mike Petrelli going to join us in just a minute here from CLNS in Cincinnati. All right, let me get back to some more football sound stuff we haven't played yet. Here's Pittsburgh head coach Mike Tomlin on Jalen Ramsey staying at the safety position.
He's got really good instincts. He's got really good passion for the game. He studies the game, and I think those are some things that really enable him to play back there, and that's such a major component of that position. His talents are obvious, his tackling, his range, his physicality, but the more subtle things, the intangible things, I think are the things that are exciting for us because as he gains more experience back there, it's reasonable to expect some of those talents to show up more frequently.
All right, that's Mike Tomlin, and also on Jalen Ramsey staying at the safety position. Oh no, I just played that, didn't I? Yeah, sorry, my bad. Here's Tampa Bay, Mecca's relationship. Speaking of Mecca, and with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. This is from Buccaneers on X.
You know, kind of having both of them is a cheat code too, because they're very different in the way that they think. I think Chris is very methodical and planned out and everything. He's a little more wired my way. And Mike, whenever I ask Mike for advice, sometimes he'll give me a genuine answer, but other times he'll just be like, dude, like, you're a Mecca Buka, just go out there and ball. Like,
because that's how Mike is.
Yeah, so I'm like,
I'm Mike Evans. I can just do it.
Okay. Like, it just gives me so much confidence. Like, he believes in me, and just fills me with so much like, okay, bet I'm gonna go do this. Yeah. So kind of having both sides of that is like it's just a cheat code. It's winning. They've taught me so much even within this short amount of time. I've only been here for I don't even know how many months, but it feels like I've known them for forever.
All righty, and that's great stuff. Let's go to the Giants. Brian Daboll reaffirms that Shane Bowen is still the Giants' defensive coordinator.
Last one, Pat Leonard.
Is Shane Bowen still your defensive coordinator?
Yes.
Is he still your defensive play caller?
Yes.
That's not a good thing. Carolina's Dave Canales, coming off that big upset win in Green Bay against the Packers, says the best is yet to come.
Is there still a sense with you that, hey, we're 5-4, we're right there halfway through the season, but this team's best football may still be ahead of itself?
I believe that 100%. I have talked to our group, and we've talked about this together. We haven't seen our best football yet, and what that would look like is a complete game where we're making great decisions. Not going to be perfect. It's never going to be perfect, but to see all of the units functioning together, to see a young group on the offensive side where we've had flashes of this guy has a big game, now this guy has a big game. Talking about T-Mac, who's been really consistent. Xavier shows up, I'm waiting for Jalen Coker to have a breakout game. He has looked amazing for 2 weeks now, and I think that a part of that is for Brad and I to put our heads together and say, how can we make Jalen Coker come alive? But a tight end group that's been so dependable and physical up front, and I just know what we can look like when we're hitting on all cylinders, and I'm looking forward to that.
All right, Dave Canales right there. Heading back to college football, he went on my rant and rave about the inconsistency, the hypocrisy, as usual, of the college football playoff committee. They had their official rankings come out last night. No surprise that Notre Dame gets bumped up. It's absolutely ridiculous that they're in the 10th spot and that Oregon is where they are. There's always going to be controversy. Hopefully, these things will work themselves out. Chris Doering and Peter Burns on the Sirius XM SEC radio talked about who could get upset this week in college football.
The most likely is Florida losing to Kentucky. I honestly believe that the team next on upset alert is Vanderbilt. And I've loved Vanderbilt all season long, but I think there's some aspects of this that may favor Auburn.
The way that they got, I want to say, they got manhandled by Texas.
You could see the difference in talent. It was very, it was very evident. And
Pavia wasn't ready for it. And they couldn't get to Arch the way that they've gotten to even Ty Simpson and some other quarterbacks so far this season that I saw. I don't know. I don't want to say a team that was tired. I think it was more of just a team that just weren't as fast and strong.
Exactly.
Right?
You could see it
out-rusted.
illustrated on tape. Yeah. I think so. I think that's probably the one my eyes go to first. Secondly would be Georgia at Mississippi State. We know how difficult it is to go to Starkville, and Georgia seems to let teams hang around. Like, I think that could be a dangerous game.
Especially with the way that State played that fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Is a fact of like, hey, even if we're down, we found a way to win, and we won that game. Number 4 would be,
I think Texas A&M, Missouri might be 4, and then LSU, Alabama 5.
That's why I think that this game is so big for Elko, because I think that we've had teams for A&M in the past that read their own press clippings. Right, I think the Kevin Sumlin teams did it.
Yeah,
Jimbo never really got off to these unbelievable quick starts that they were like, oh my God, outside of 2020. Elko strikes me as a guy that doesn't get, he'll rip your ass on a Tuesday in March the same way he will the day before a big game.
Yeah,
like, so I would be surprised if they came out listless. And even if they did for the first half, I've seen some of these halftime speeches of Mike Elko so far that have been really impressive of punching the right, or saying the right thing.
Yeah.
So I probably have the Missouri A&M at 4th on that list. And believe it or not, I think LSU is the worst chance to defeat a team.
Yeah, he's talking about Vanderbilt. They're taking on Auburn. New coach Hugh Freeze gone. Auburn's defense has been terrific all year long. They just can't get out of their own way offensively. But yeah, I'd like to see Auburn upset Vanderbilt. That would be fun. Vandy's a 6.5-point favorite right now at home against Auburn. And there he is. There he is. I knew he wouldn't let me down. The one and only Trags, Mike Petralia. You know him. You love him. You can't live without him. Out in Cincinnati. Covering the Bengals. You hear him on the Jungle Roar podcast and also CLNSCincy.com. I was so thinking of you last week, and I go, I wish there was a camera in the press box focused on you during that last play, because I think he would have turned green like the Hulk. And
well, here's the thing, Pete.
Anybody near you.
Here's the thing, Pete. When you have a keyboard, you have the power of the keyboard to try and convey the lunacy, the ridiculousness, and the sublime nature of the incompetence of the Cincinnati Bengals. They are really grotesquely in over their head as an NFL franchise.
Now, usually there's no cheering in the press box and all that stuff, but what was the gasp like when you saw Loveland and I don't know how many missed tackles?
I mean, it was more a gasp and a cackle. Like everybody laughed at them. They're a joke. They are a running joke. The organization is a joke. It's been a rough 2 weeks for the franchise, and they know it. They know they're getting skewered, as they should, for being arrogant, pompous, and stubborn. That's what the Bengals are in a nutshell.
Like you.
And I don't think
I'm kidding.
Stubborn. Like when somebody shows me I'm incompetent and a failure, I try to make changes in my life. Right? They don't.
Why though? I don't. It's not the offense. It's not the offense. We knew the offense was going.
No.
I mean, when you go into that locker room, like you want to go into that locker room after a game like that, and back in the day, a couple times, and going to Patriot locker rooms with you and others after, horrible losses, and you're always afraid you're going to get hit.
Well, I mean, and with Jamar Chase,
when
you interview him, you're wondering if he's going to snap.
Yeah,
and it's no joke.
I know. I see your microphone near him all the time, and there's a lot of stuff
all you do is take one look at his face, and you're like, he takes this shit seriously. He is pissed off. There is no question about that. Same with Chase Brown. I mean, Zach Taylor can go and chastise Chase Brown for going off, but he should go off. And I think, we keep that stuff in house. Well, no, not. You're allowed to be frustrated, and some coaches would say this is why you don't talk to players after games. And I'm like, that's kind of a cheesy, lame-ass way out of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What you do is, and Belichick understood this, and everybody in that Patriots locker room understood, when you play poorly and you let your teammates down, you're accountable for it after a game, and then you move on. The reason you don't wait and say, and have defensive players giggle at you like they did with me when I tweeted that out after the game and say, catch you on Monday. By the time Monday comes around, Pete, what are you supposed to be? You're supposed to be on to the next game.
Yep.
That's why you address it after the game.
Except for this week, because you're on a bye. So maybe it does linger a little bit. But you know what I'm saying?
Don't be an asshole. You know what I'm saying. I love you, Pete. You knew when you asked me on this pod this morning, and on the show this morning, that I was going to lay into you. You absolutely knew that.
Well, I mean, the X-rated NC-17/X-rated text that you and I went back and forth yesterday for a couple of minutes, I just asked a simple question. Would you like to join me? Bye week. I figured that you had some time, I don't think Xavier has any games tonight, do they? Covering them?
Xavier is playing tomorrow night.
Okay. But honestly, expectations were high this year. I don't understand.
Well, let me break it.
What about talk to me about Al Golden and the defensive coordinator?
So it's a real bad combination of things.
Mm-hmm.
Al Golden is in over his head with this group that is devoid of any NFL talent or starting talent. Okay. And it's a bad combo when your front office gives you players who can't play. Then you're a first-time coordinator in the National Football League trying to get players who can't play in position on every snap, and they don't understand where they're supposed to be. And you don't have a lot of team leadership on the defense to correct the mistakes on the field. You're screwed. I mean, it is a perfect storm of bad defense going on in Cincinnati right now, starting with the personnel department. The personnel department, because they do not have a general manager, because their ownership doesn't believe in a general manager, they will not hire somebody to come in and draft properly. They can draft on the offensive side of the ball pretty well. I think they've shown that. But on the defensive side of the ball, they don't know what they're doing.
As Duke Tobin, your de facto kind of GM and name only, have you talked to him? What's he say about this situation?
He does not want to talk to the media. He's not made available to the media by the ownership or by the organization. The only person speaking on behalf of the organization is Zach Taylor. And yes, his coordinators do speak. Dan Picture and Al Golden, they talked Monday and Tuesday, which is fine. But when you have an abject failure from top to bottom, you need the organization to be accountable, and there is no accountability with the Bengals. Zero.
How many days off they got this? Did Taylor give them some days off this week?
Well, not only did he give them the 3 days off leading into the weekend, he gave them yesterday off because yesterday's practice was only for first and second year players. So if you were a veteran with any stature on the team, you didn't have to come into work.
How do you feel about that?
Whatever. I don't think it matters at this point. And that, the Bengals very, very, very quietly are waving the white flag. They know the season's over. They know they don't have a defense. They know they're not getting Joe Burrow back until mid-December. Now he's not coming back. I mean, obviously, if there's nothing to play for, there's zero reason to put Joe Burrow back on the field. So
Flacco hasn't been the problem at all, right?
No. I'm not.
I know you're not saying that.
He is.
I mean, Jesus. I mean, you can't.
And I would give Duke Tobin credit for going out and getting Joe Flacco. I mean, it went from good feelings for Duke Tobin for trying to get a quarterback who can run the offense after watching Jake Browning flounder for 3 weeks. They did a good thing for the offense, and it worked. They did nothing yesterday at the deadline for the defense. You saw what the Cowboys did, and yes, the Cowboys are going to get excoriated and really crucified for giving up some draft picks, but they at least did something. The Jets had a fabulous day. They rebuilt their next 2 drafts around 2 superstar players because they know they're not going anywhere.
They'll screw it up, though. That's the thing. You can give them 25 first-round picks. But I agree with you. They were smart to do what they did. It says to me Aaron Glenn isn't going anywhere as well. But it's
probably not.
It's still the Jets. And you can.
I understand that.
You say this every 3 years or 4 years. They're going to rebuild. They're going to rebuild. They're going to rebuild. And you put that jersey on, and you become stupid.
Well, I mean, part of it's not getting the head coach right. I agree.
They were smart to do what they did. You're right. They were smart.
But at least they were aggressive on deadline day and made moves. The Bengals, and this is what I wrote about yesterday for CLNSCincy.com. Happy to send you the link.
Yes, I'll retweet it for you.
And I will send it to you. What the Bengals failed to do, what they did was, well, I guess status quo was okay. Yeah, they traded Logan Wilson, but Logan Wilson is a middling linebacker. And what did they get back in return, Pete? They got a 7th-round draft pick next year and a little bit of cap space next year and the year after. That's it. That's all they did. That's nothing. They might as well just close the doors and say, yeah, we're closed, bye week. We're going to get out for our break a little bit early because it's been an emotionally difficult 2 weeks.
Well, I'm looking at the schedule here for you guys. At Pittsburgh on the 16th. coming to Foxborough to play the Patriots.
No, game in Cincinnati.
What game in Cincinnati? Oh, I'm sorry. Home against Patriots. I'm thinking. My bad.
Yeah.
So you're at Pittsburgh. You're home against the Patriots. At the Ravens. At Buffalo. Home against the Ravens, and then you get which will not be an 8:20 game on the 21st.
No, they will not. Most
maybe it will. Is that one of those Saturday games that maybe they can't flex out? Maybe they will.
No. That's a Sunday night game in Miami. They'll flex out to 4:25.
You want to worry about that. That'll be
They can't flex it to 1 because you can't flex an 8 o'clock game to 1 p.m.
Well, they can flex it out. They're not going to play at 8:20 on a Sunday night.
No, they certainly are not.
And then home against the Cardinals and home against the Browns. But it's just
Pete, let me interrupt.
Yes.
What infuriates Bengals fans and infuriates the coaching staff is that had you made one play in each of the games against the Jets and the Bears, you would be 5-4. You would be 2-0 in the division. You'd be going to Pittsburgh. Are you convinced that Pittsburgh's all that?
I think they're the biggest fraud team in the NFL.
Could you see at 5-4 the Bengals going into Pittsburgh and taking care of business?
I would expect them if they were 5-4. I would expect them to go in there and take care of business.
And then they'd be 6-4.
Yeah.
Then you go home to the Patriots, and look, I think the Patriots are vastly improved. And what I love about the Patriots, and I'm going to write a column about this, Pete.
Mm-hmm.
If the Bengals were serious, they would do what the Patriots did last year. They would go out and rebuild the defense in one off season, invest in the defense in free agency, in the draft, rebuild it. Their offense, for all intents and purposes, is built and ready to go. You don't have to do that much to the offense, but you have to completely restock your defense. If you were willing to go the Patriots way and use their model from last off season, you could have a Super Bowl contender. The other thing that I think the Patriots deserve full kudos for, and the Kraft family knows this, they moved on from Gerard Mayo quick. They were like, this was a mistake. Yep. We got to move on. Mm-hmm. Get Mike Vrabel, the guy they wanted all along. Get him in there, and look at the culture change.
But what about if the team continues to tank, so to speak, or just not? Is Zach Taylor and the coordinator's jobs all going to be in jeopardy?
Absolutely in jeopardy. No question about that. The question:
you offer Lane Kiffin $20 million a year, like everybody else, to come.
How about Joe Brady? Joe Brady, as the Buffalo offensive coordinator, knows Joe Burrow, coached with him at LSU.
Yep.
I mean, he could be a fit. And I've suggested that, but Lane Kiffin, I'd stay away from that.
I don't think he's going anywhere anyway. I just threw it in because I don't think he's leaving Mississippi.
But
for anybody. But anyway,
a culture guy to come in. Look, for all of the abuse that Marvin Lewis took for not winning a playoff game, that culture changed like that. And Zach Taylor had a terrific culture when he was winning. The 21 and 22 seasons, he did a lot of good things, Pete. And I'm not going to say that he didn't. But he's an offense-first head coach. He doesn't have a pulse on what a good defense looks like. And that has burned them the last couple of years. And he doesn't have a good pulse on a run game. Only until Joe Flacco got under center and essentially showed them they got to get him under center and have some play action for the offense. Did the running game become productive? Did the offense become productive? And I will say this also about their draft, which the drafts have been abysmal failures the last 5 years. Bad, with the exception of Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, Evan McPherson. I'll give them that one. After that, it's been just garbage, and they haven't been able to build anything through the draft. But this past year, they got 2 guards in Dylan Fairchild and Jalen Rivers, and you'll see them in a couple of weeks against the Pats. Mm-hmm. They're legit. They're very good. So I think their offensive line is decent. Orlando Brown Jr. got old overnight, but he's still a big anchor on the edge of the offensive line. And Amarius Mims is a dog. He's a really good right tackle.
Well, the guys you're talking about, Jalen Rivers from Miami, and the other kid, Georgia, and the other kid's from Georgia.
Yes. I mean, they're two young interior offensive linemen who aren't getting pushed around as easily. Shamar Stewart's a bust. That I don't know if you've seen the highlight of him getting pancaked by the Bears offensive lineman.
I did. Yeah.
It's so embarrassing. And I know it's one play. I get that. A lot of coaches will say, "Oh, I could pull out a play from 1989 and I can show you Anthony Munoz getting okay, whatever." But it's happened repeatedly in his first year with Shamar. He doesn't have a sack yet. He almost had one against the Bears last week, but he's been out of position. The worst play that Shamar Stewart made, Pete, on that Caleb Williams run for 20 yards, that scramble, he pinched inside over center. He was out of position by a good 8 yards. What did Belichick always tell you the number one priority of a defensive end is? Set the edge.
Yeah, and Orlovsky's the play you're talking about. I think he circled it, and it was like, you can't have this. It's horrible technique.
Well, and that's horrible coaching. That is where Al Golden needs to sit him down and go, "What are you doing, Shamar? This is like Pop Warner football technique kind of crap. Where are you going?" I mean, the only thing that can hurt the Bengals there is precisely what hurt them. I mean,
anytime you feel, or any Bengals fan feels depressed about what has going on, all you got to do is play a continuous loop of Charlie Brown, a.k.a. Mike McDaniel, and you'll feel much better. Because if you think the Bengals are in rough shape.
You really think the Dolphins are worse off than the Bengals?
Oh, my God, yes. Absolutely. They are the UMass of college football in the NFL. They are pathetic.
Yeah, I guess their quarterback situation.
Stephen Ross is a great man. Stephen Ross does great things outside of his football team. Does marvelous things for the community, everything else. Running a football team, that Mike McDaniel to me is a disgrace to any type of coach. I've never seen a coach in my life have less conviction than that man.
Yeah,
he's a fool. As a football coach. It's embarrassing, and Stephen Ross is going to hire a new GM and basically has said, well, we're keeping Mike because he can fix it. They can't trade Tua. Imagine Tua's going to make, I think in 3 years, Mike, he's going to make $65 million. 65. 65.
Yeah, you're right. I stand corrected.
Well, real quick, before I let you go, because Big O's coming on shortly. You weren't in Utah for the Cincinnati game, were you?
I was not. I watched it, but I was not.
That stunned me. I mean, it's a tough place to play. Utah's all tough. I get it. But I did not expect the shellacking that they got. After the first quarter, 14-7, but I thought that game might go down to the wire. Man, was I wrong.
So that game turned when the Bearcats got the interception and they had scored a touchdown on the long play. I love Brendan Sorsby. I think I actually think he might have NFL potential. But when Sorsby hit the long pass, beautiful touch down the left sideline, then they intercepted Utah to kill Utah's drive. I'm like, okay, 24-14. They got the ball back. They got a quarterback who can move. Then they went 3-and-out ball game. Right there, I'm like, uh-oh. Yeah. That was their chance. And then Utah came down, scored, and Katie barred the door.
In that atmosphere. So what's it like for you covering Xavier? What's it like for you during the off week? I was really never an off week for you, for guys like your reporters and all that stuff. So what do you got going on this week? You got Xavier.
I do. I saw Xavier's totally rebuilding. I mean, they almost lost to Marist the other night, Pete.
I saw that.
They have one returning player and 0 minutes from last season on the whole roster. So Richard Pitino had to completely rebuild in a period of about 2 months. And they did. They've got 12 players, but it's going to be rough. I mean, they probably will finish ahead of 2 teams in the Big East, but that's about it. It's going to be a long year. And the UC Bearcats are maybe middling 500. Maybe they win 18, 19 games, but that's it.
All right. So what's your week like this week? Got a couple of college hoops, and then
I got Xavier Lemoyne on Thursday night, so that's tomorrow night. Then guess where I'm heading heading down to the Sunshine State. I'm heading to Naples.
You are?
I am heading down with the lovely Deborah Ann on Friday morning. We're going to see friends. We're going to golf down at can't remember the name of the club, but we're going to do some golfing on Saturday. See some.
How long you down for?
None of your business.
I'll find
For
call your wife. Even though I don't.
I love you, Pete. I miss you until Monday morning early. Then,
geez, you're only a half hour from me. We should, try to meet up at. I know it's tough.
I would love to if I can coax the lovely Deborah Ann into doing that. I would love to.
Well,
but
I can meet you half. I can meet you down. It doesn't matter. I got to see my Hurricanes beat up on Syracuse. Hopefully, that's a whole other issue. But that's a 3:30. But yeah, let's. If you're down, when you getting down Friday? You getting down Friday?
I am, but have you ever been to Pop Stroke?
Of course, yeah.
Yes, so we're going to Pop Stroke on Friday.
That's fun.
Seeing some family on Friday. Head down to Naples.
You drinking, playing mini golf could be interesting.
Could be.
Because you can drink.
After what I've watched the last several weeks, the whole season for that matter, I need a beverage.
Well, hopefully I'll get.
You know what, Angel Martinez, you are a saint. I see you there in the studio. The way you put up with Pete, God bless you.
That's all right, Mike. I'm used to it, so it's no big deal. Hey, but I have a quick question for you too before Glenn O comes on. Would the fans, Mike, ever just stop going over to the stadium because you figured that's the only way? Jeffrey Lurie got the message when Eagles fans and Chip Kelly was there. They were like, listen, we don't show up. That's the way it goes. They didn't show up for one game, and it quickly sent a message to Jeffrey Lurie.
Hey, real quick, you guys, real quick. Angel, Glenn just said he didn't get a link.
Oh, boy. Okie dokies.
All right. Go ahead, Mike.
Come on, Angel.
I said it all the time.
I'm sure you did. Anyway, that's what we've talked about the last couple of weeks. The no-shows are going to increase, and the only way you get a message through to the Brown family is by not showing up. And in the mid-'90s and the early 2000s, you had 25,000 showing up on a regular basis to Bengal home games. That happens, you'll see some changes. The one thing you will not see, and I say this with almost 100% degree of certainty, you'll never see a general manager come in and assume football operational power from the Brown family because they're arrogant and, arrogant's the wrong word. They're stubborn. They are very stubborn about giving up football control. They believe they know best. And even if 25,000 start showing up, I don't know if they'll hire a general manager. When that happened, they went out and got Marvin Lewis, who changed the football culture in the locker room, on the field. If that happens again, maybe they go out and say, we do need a general manager. We need to give up our football control and let somebody who knows what they're doing come in and really run the football operation.
Trags, you're the best. Plug away how people can get a hold of you, hear you. I have it written down here, but let's get it from the horse's mouth.
CLNS with a Y.com, CLNS Cincy with a Y.com. That's where my article on the lack of the inactivity of the Bengals on deadline day, what it really says about the Bengals. Then you can certainly follow me on the X at Trags, TRAGS. And my YouTube page, or my Jungle Roar podcast page, is youtube.com/@JungleRoarPod.
And also the Pride of Villanova. You guys played BYU tough the other night. I watched.
Yeah, we did. It was a scrappy effort.
The kid that they bought, the kid that Danny Ainge bought for $8 million, that's from Brockton, Massachusetts. He goes to play prep school his junior year in Cal, and then senior year goes to the Mormon prep school. And Danny Ainge happens to come up with the Mormons, $8 million, $9 million for this kid, the one-year wonder. He's going to probably be a first-team All-American and then bolt for the NBA. But you guys played them tough. That was a good game.
Yeah, well, there's no shame in that. The top 10 team.
Yep. No question. Trags, you're the best. We'll talk to you soon. I'll retweet some of your stuff if I feel like it.
Yeah. All right. Go screw.
Hippie. Mike Petralia joining us here on the Pete Sheppard Channel. I like him. I love him, man. He's like the crazy twin brother I never had. Anywho, speaking of that, just like that. There he is.
Sound effects now. Wow.
Live from Arizona. It is one and only Massachusetts Hall of Fame broadcaster, Glenn Big O Ordway. Good morning, Big O. How are you?
Good morning, Pete. Trex, how are you?
Oh,
Trex is going. Oh, there he is. Hi, Trex.
He's still kind of there. Is he there?
How are you?
Okay. Hang on. Stand by. Pause, please. Pause, please.
I haven't seen Trex in ages. I'm doing great. How are you?
Yeah, I'm great. Yeah, fantastic. Beautiful. I'm sure it's beautiful weather where you are. Beautiful here.
It's great.
Yeah. Not so much in Cincinnati land where Mike is, but
well, they have all sorts of issues out there now. So that football team. Wow.
Not as much as Miami. I can hear. Andy's going to. Is Andy? Hang on a second. Give 1 second here. Give 1 second. Well, thanks for taking a few minutes, Big O. Appreciate you.
Oh, no problem. Anytime with you, Pete. You know that.
Always. Everything good out there?
Yeah. I have no complaints. We've done a lot of traveling. I was back in Boston for a couple of weeks. That was nice. Catching up with family, and got 2 grandchildren now. So
congratulations.
Wow. Thank you. Spend some quality time there and spend some quality time with friends. Oh, the sound effects, Peter. Are you running them, or do you actually have somebody?
I can.
I can tell.
Yeah.
That's the right sound effect right there. You nailed it. Jesus. Wow.
Anyway,
stick to sports, will you, Pete? Stick to
sports.
Right.
Stick to sports. Hey, Big O.
Yes, Tregs.
A tip of the cap to you.
Oh my God, it's an inside joke we've had for 30 years, right there.
Yes, indeed. A tip of the cap to you, Big O. Miss you. And the more things change, the more things stay the same. I'm just ripping the Bengals here in Cincinnati. That's all we do.
Well, they deserve it. I mean, it's
bad.
Maybe the cheapest organization in all of professional sports. Is that safe to say? They would rival the old Los Angeles Clippers.
I am right there with you. Yeah. Absolutely. The problem with the Bengals is it's not the money they do or don't spend on the players. They spent $500 million on Burrow, Chase, and Higgins. Okay. It's the lack of the scouting department, which burns
operation, right?
Operation and no general manager. Right. Duke Tobin's not the GM. The football control for 40, 45 years has run through the Brown family, and that hasn't changed. And what's the definition of insanity?
Doing the same thing over and
over and expecting different results. They get to an occasional Super Bowl and then fall off a cliff. And
I got to tell you, the funny one right now is the Indianapolis Colts, because for the first few weeks, all we saw was the new owner, the daughter, with a headset on the sideline, actually talking to the other coaches, and we're sitting there laughing at it.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe she's pretty good at this football thing because they're damn good.
Well, I will tell you, a little birdie told me the Bengals tried that same thing with their daughters.
Didn't work.
But they apparently need to be closer to the field because they were in the press box when they did it against the Eagles and Commanders in the preseason.
Yeah.
And Duke Tobin was on the field. Duke Tobin is normally the guy in the press box on the head. Anyway.
Stuff is crazy, man.
You don't have a practice field yet either, right?
Well, they have a bubble.
They're overrated. Practice. Come on, they're overrated.
All right, Trags, you're the man.
I'll let you guys go.
Good seeing you, Trags.
Tip of the cap to you, Big O.
Buddy. That's
great seeing you.
You got
Take
it.
care.
Same here.
I forgot. What was that about 30 years ago?
It was about Ted Sarantes. It was Ted Sarantes. It was a Ted Sarantes joke.
Yes.
It's an inside joke. He's been doing it for 30 years. Every time I see Trags, that's the first thing he does.
Where is Teddy?
It's great. Teddy's in Florida. He ran for county commissioner or something like that. He lost the election. This was last year, but it's not over yet because he's claiming there was illegal voting activity, and he's now suing. He's suing the county. I tell you what, Trax Pete, if I told you somebody we once worked with is now suing the county because he feels like he got jobbed with ballots or whatever, the first name you would throw out there would be Ted Sorrentez.
No
Ted
question.
Sorrentez. That's it.
No, absolutely.
He would get
zero
so
doubt.
furious at Glenn, me, and our show because we remember the old multiplication rock thing when you skated to figure eight because we used to make fun of Teddy as we make fun of all how you say eight. Glenn, Pete, my family's listening. You have to understand anything that we were complimenting him. Actually, he would everything that it would either fly over his head or he couldn't comprehend.
He couldn't take a joke.
My family's listening. Please
Big O. Remember this?
Yes. Yeah.
I remember, Glenn, I think you had left the studio. It was after our show, and Teddy's coming on after us, and you had left or went into the office, and Renee Marchando, great producers, at the time, stacking all the carts for the commercials and everything else. I forget what Teddy said. I'm coming in out of the other room. All I know was Renee had about 20 carts and just fucking flung them at Teddy.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Before the show, like 10 minutes before he's supposed to go on the air. Oh my God, I was dying.
Well, the thing is, and I sat him down one time and I said, Ted, we're talking about you nonstop and we're getting ratings here. So this is good for your branding. And the same thing that Pete just said, but my family. I said, do yourself a favor. Tell your family to shut the fucking radio off, okay? That'll solve all of your problems right now, and you'll become a star. You will. You didn't listen to me.
He was.
All right, guys. I got to run.
See you, Trags.
Take care.
You got to
All right, Big O. All right, Trags. Oh, Big O, great to have you on today here on the Pete Sheppard Show on the Coastal Sports Digital Network on the something.
You're everywhere now too, Pete. I notice everywhere. I can get you on X. I get you everywhere.
Everywhere on YouTube, Rumble, Kick, CSD in Florida, Instagram, Odyssey app, CSD in Florida, all that stuff. Oh my God! All right, I'm gonna start with you with the Celtics because I'm with you. I saw your tweets the other night. I felt the same way. What really aggravates me is I believe they were 26 of 38 from two, and obviously horrific from 3-point again. And yes, they don't have without Tatum, and yes, they don't have the big man to shoot 11% from three. But I don't understand. Like we said so much last year, attack the basket more, attack the basket. They were 26 of 38 from two, I believe. Yeah. Why it was working? It was, and that's an unacceptable loss to me. The other ones the Houston game I knew was coming because of the back-to-back nights, and I just didn't feel great about it. The Utah game was
especially when Utah was
without. This is where Joe has to, it's a small sample size still, but he's going to have to do some readjusting, right?
Well, I think he did a lot of talking before the season. We're going to be up tempo. So you bought into it. You said okay. Now, unfortunately, Pete, to be up-tempo and play that type of fast-break game, you've got to be able to rebound at the defensive end. They can't rebound. They're the smallest front court, and we knew that going in to the season that their front court was going to be disastrous. So now I think Joe is relegated to the only way we can score. I mean, when he brings Simons off the bench, the only way he can score is really by threes. But here's the problem. They don't have any great screeners. I mean, Garza's pretty good. They don't have any great screeners. And what I'm noticing right now,
Kata should be there, but he's not yet.
No, but what I'm noticing right now is that Derek White has got major problems out there. And that is that last year and the year before, if you're going to defend the Boston Celtics, your game plan is we're going to stop Tatum, we're going to stop Brown. Derek White is not in the conversation. So he ends up being the recipient of all those wide open jumpers, but also lots of space in the lane because you've got Horford. You've got all those big guys that can spread the floor for you, okay? So he's got all sorts of space. He has no space right now, and the game plan is we got to shut Brown off, and then we have to shut Derek White off, and the rest of them screw him. We don't care about him, okay? And so the only way that Derek White can find any daylight is fighting through picks, rather getting off of picks and then being able to get daylight in 3-point territory. He's only taking threes, Pete. He's not getting those twos that you were just talking about. He's not getting mid-range stuff, which we've always seen elbow jumpers. He's been able to get into that paint. He can't get them because of the way they're defending him. Now, I made the mistake. I thought, you take Tatum away. Somebody's got to score the points. Derek White's going to be the guy. But I should have thought the whole thing out and said, well, the other team's thinking that too, and so they're going to shut him down. And I think he is really finding it very, very difficult out there. If you watch, he almost looks tired by the fourth quarter. He's working so hard to get his. Here's the other one. Guards are lighting that backcourt up. This used to be a shutdown backcourt defensively. Now Holiday's gone. Now you're moving guys around. You're taking guys who were role players, and you're asking them now to be starters. You're asking them now to be 30-minute players. So they're just not good enough. I mean, as simple as that. And I talk to my Celtic friends, and they keep on, thinking, oh, I think they could be a 3 seed. Oh, I think they could be a 4 seed. I said, it would have to be a miracle for them to be a 3 or 4 seed. Matter of fact, if Brown goes down for 2 weeks, or you lose a couple of these players for 2 or 3 weeks,
you can't afford
it. Then you're looking at the play-in at best. And if you're looking at play-in, Pete, I'm saying, okay, I'm going to lose a few games here at the end. I don't want to be in the play-in game. There's nothing to gain by being there. Nothing.
Unless you assure me that Tatum is going to be back for the postseason.
I wouldn't push him back, Pete. Yeah. It's a great draft. Yeah, there are 7 or 8 players that are at the top of this draft that every one of them could be a really good player in this league. And this is the type of draft you sit back and say, okay, if we're out of it, we have a pretty good chance of being 1 through 8. Why not?
No, I want the kid from Brockton who plays for BYU that Danny Ainge bought for $8 million, who had a good game, excellent game the other night against Villanova. He was 50% from 9 of 18, I think 6 of 6 from the line. That kid, we all know why he's there. I mean, BYU's already ranked 8. They're going to be I think they're going to be a Final Four team just because of that kid.
What's his name? AJ.
Hang on a second. Give me a few seconds.
It's okay. It's AJ. We can just call him AJ. We're good. But I agree with you. He's another wing player, so it also gives you some flexibility if down the road you want to trade Jaylen Brown.
Yes, that's it. Yeah.
And he grew up in the area. Right.
Grew up in Brockton, and then he went to his junior year. Right. He went to Cal Prep, and then he went to the. I think the actual name of it was Mormon Prep.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, in Utah. And Danny Ainge got together the Mormon money. Seriously, it was $8 or $9 million, or whatever it was, $7.5 million, and they bought him for a year.
Yeah.
Good for Danny. Smart.
No, but but the draft is good this year, so. It's not like you've got a bad draft, and it's not like there's one player, that you have to bank on like they did with Tim Duncan. No, this draft is about 7 or 8 or 9 deep. Yeah. And I'm going on the college experts out there that know this stuff inside and out. That's what they're saying. If that's the case, if you're the Celtics organization, I'm sorry, you can't fix the season. Players won't allow you to do that. But if you have injuries and you take your time bringing those players back, management can manage the situation so that you don't win too many games. They can do that.
Yep. And then you get Tatum back next year and maybe a top draft pick, and then, everything.
And then in the next summer of 27, if you get under the first apron, which I think they will, I think they'll trade Simons off at the trading deadline. If they get under the first apron, the summer of 2027, you can load up again. You can go well up to the second apron. You can load up again, and you can make another 3-year run. Mm-hmm. That's what the league is now. And you'll see it with Oklahoma City as well. Every team is going to get like a 3-year run. And then once you have to pay max contract to all these guys, you have no more money. You have no more flexibility.
And we're assuming these new owners will not turn into John Henry, right? And they will
I don't. People I've talked to that know them, know him, Chisholm, tell me that is not the case. That he's sincere about spending the money. He's made a lot of money in his life, and this is a passion for him, And he did grow up in the area in the North Shore, and he's passionate about the Celtics. I've never met the guy, I don't know, but I've talked to some people who know him a little bit, and they say great things about him.
You were a North Shore guy growing up.
I was. I grew up in Lynn. City of Sin.
And once you get out, you can't get in. Or what's that saying?
A lot of times you don't want to go back, but that's the case. But that's the Celtic story. They are what they are, and the I know people are going to get carried away and say, well, the Eastern Conference is so weak. Maybe they could stop it. Okay. You just don't have enough to do it. First of all, Cleveland and New York are a lot better than you. Orlando right now, for some reason, is not playing great defense. They were a terrific defensive team
last year. They should have won that game last night against Atlanta. Atlanta was
and they're scoring a lot this year, Pete. They're not defending. I don't understand, but they'll figure it out somewhere down the line.
But the 76ers, and I still don't trust Embiid. I hate him. But, I mean, and Angels, obviously a big Philadelphia 76ers fan. But
I love Hitchcock, though. I love it. And Maxey. Whoa, they're backcourt.
That is a tough combination. They continue to do it. I know they lost a heartbreaker last night at the buzzer. I don't know if you heard Stacey what's his name doing the color commentary. He did a Sanford and Son at the end. Hey, I'm coming, Elizabeth. I can't believe it.
Did he really?
Yeah. Stacey King, former Oklahoma, great play, the color commentary. Yeah. But Sixers are going to be formed. I don't care what the Knicks do. The Knicks to me are like the Jets. I don't care what they do. They're not winning anything.
I don't know about the Bulls. The Bulls are surprising. I've seen them a couple times so far this year. They play hard, and they're pretty good. They're better, and that's what I think the problem the Celtics have is that even the mediocre teams have gotten a little bit better. I mean, the Nets still suck, and Washington's still bad, but and those teams are probably going to finish below you. But Detroit is better. I mean, Indiana's got the same problem Boston has. Not only do they have an injury to their best player, but they lost Miles Turner as well.
Yeah.
And so in Milwaukee, I haven't even mentioned Milwaukee. Milwaukee still is good because they've got a great a player, and they've got a couple of guys around him, I think, that are pretty good, including Turner. So
John Morant going to talk his way out of Memphis. I mean, they're going to kill him. I mean, he's unbelievable. I mean, you talk about diva. Wow. I don't see him being there much longer. I really don't.
But if you're another team, Pete, unless you're really desperate. So if you're maybe the Nets, are building something with young draft picks. So, but if you're another team, if you're a contending team, do you want to bring that into your culture? I mean,
well, some guys think they can fix things like that.
Yeah, you know what?
Maybe Miami Heat would do something like that. I could see Spoelstra, Pat Riley making a move.
That's another thing. They've played pretty well out of the gate too. So, and I know people keep on saying it. Well, they're a great organization. They have a great culture. Culture. So maybe that's part of it. The problem with John Morant for me is he's a phenomenal athlete, can do an awful lot, huge skill set. The problem is I don't think he's gotten a lot better in the last few years. Plus, if you look at Memphis' record when he doesn't play, their record is pretty damn good when he doesn't play. That tells me an awful lot that maybe that's not a one-man show. That there's more there, and he may be dragging them down.
Well, it's going to be again. It's very early on in the season. We're only talking 7-8 games so far.
What are you talking about? We're in the big midseason tournament. There. What do they call it?
I hate those floors.
The cup.
I hate those
are
floors.
Awful. They're awful. It looks like a video game. It doesn't look like real NBA basketball. It looks like a video game. I'm not knocking video games. Video games are fine. They have a great look to them.
Video games is great, but not.
But I'm gonna tip you off. They're not real people in the video game. Okay,
yeah.
They're
really?
Not. No, they're not.
I can create myself though.
Yeah. So and I'm with you on the court.
The other thing too is the music and everything else, and it trickled into baseball this year because now it's like every pitch you can't have 10 seconds of peace. Every pitch, between pitches, there's a sound effect or music. The NBA, I thought we stopped this, Glenn. I thought we stopped it after midcourt. Didn't David Stern put it out a rule? No more because of Orlando when they first came in. Enough of this bull.
They did have a rule that you had to stop it.
Nobody. It's music and sound effects all the way through. Guys shooting and everything. I can't stand it.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you something. A friend brought this up to me recently, and actually he and I looked at a couple of old videos of this because he did a lot of research on this, and he's lives out here. He's a Celtic fan, but if you look at games right now. And at the end of games, when there's like even a minute left and the game is really tight, and I have the NBA League Pass feed, so I can see you have that. You can see all of the in-house activity. There are no commercials, all in-house.
Yep.
They're putting the Jumbotron, they're putting cameras around, and people are just going crazy. And their team has just made an awful play that put them down by 3.
Yep. But here's a kiss cam. Here's a kiss cam. Everybody's all good.
And so the people don't give a shit about what's going on in the game.
Nope.
They're not emotionally invested. They just want to get up on the Jumbotron.
Taking pictures of the Jumbotron, and they're trying like crazy.
They just want to be seen. They want their 15 minutes of fame. He showed me old video. He said, go look at the old video. And we looked at old video, and it was back in the 80s, and it was at the end of a Celtics game. And guess what? You got the little organist. That's all you got, Pete, right? Or Hava Nagila, okay?
Yeah.
And then what you got is the crowd was like this.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Magic just hit one.
Yeah.
Oh, my God, he gave the Lakers the lead.
Yeah.
They're like this. Tension. You don't get that in NBA games right now when you're in house.
No,
because
it's
an event now. It's an event.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. People don't go there because they love that team and they follow it every single day. Now some do. Don't get me wrong, but you've got too many now who are just there for the event. It's a date. It's a night out. Okay, it's a night for the family to go and enjoy, and that's what you got right now, Pete. And so the music adds to it because they need that. They need that lady that spins the dishes, and all that other stuff. Like, that's big-time entertainment.
But the music in baseball and the sound effects in between pitches.
It's the same thing with baseball now. Baseball's doing the same thing.
I don't mind at the end of an inning. I don't mind even in between batters. But every pitch, there's a sound effect or music. But the 10 seconds that the catcher takes to throw back, they got to get some sort of music in.
Well, look at your show. You got all these sound effects now. You're doing the same thing. You're becoming professional baseball in 2025.
Hey, before we end this,
we got to talk about the Patriots.
Talk about the Patriots a little bit. Look, Amy Adams Strunk, I think she sabotaged several deals. I think the Patriots had 3 they were going after. Arden Key, the rusher, Tony Pollard, the running back, and maybe even Calvin Ridley, the wide receiver. I think she sabotaged anything because...
I should have won Vrabel. It's a Vrabel.
She hates Vrabel. She hates Vrabel. But I'm not getting, as Jerry Callahan used to say, I'm not getting my boxers in a bunch.
Yeah, I'm not.
Because they didn't make a major move or anything like that. I'm not.
Here's what's happening, I think, is that, and I said this at the beginning of the season because I had them winning fewer games than you did. And my point was, I don't give a shit how many games they win this year. If you can tell me at the end of the season that they have a legitimate quarterback, then they're all set, okay? Then you can start building your roster for the future, all right? Especially when the kid is under a rookie contract. That allows you to do so much more. That's what the Patriots did in the early 2000s with Tom Brady on a rookie contract, and that's what Kansas City did with Patrick Mahomes on a rookie contract. It allowed them to build the rest of their roster because they got him cheap. Mm-hmm. Well, the Patriots have done that. They have a legitimate top 5 quarterback in that league. Now, I know he made a couple of mistakes in this game this past week. He's going to. That's what youth do.
But he overcame it as usual. That's the sign of a good team when you can make mistakes like that and come back and win games.
They are a good team. Good teams win games like that where you screw up, and their management and at the end of the first half, and it wasn't the coaches, it was the players themselves. The quarterback made a mistake, but he's legit, Pete. He's got accuracy down the field. He's got a head. He can think about it. I know people are bitching right now. Well, he should have gone to the third read, the second read. He should have gone to the check down. He's learning the game.
And he's does that a lot anyway. People want to nitpick there. How about they're the first team, I think, since 1949 to not allow a 50-yard rusher in a game?
Right.
It's unbelievable.
Right. So I was surprised that they didn't try to get some depth. They've got a bunch of these 6th-round draft picks, right? Give up a 6th here or a 6th there, try to get some depth. Now, maybe they looked at it and said the depth that we're looking at is no better than the depth that we have behind our starters right now, because that's where they're really weak, okay? If they, Spillane, if they lose a couple of key defensive players, I think those numbers you just mentioned are going to change because they don't have real depth out there. And that's the thing that concerns me. Are they the recipient of an easy schedule? Yeah, this might be the easiest NFL schedule I have ever seen. 1, they're not facing many playoff teams. 2, 3 maybe, and they're not facing many good quarterbacks. Again, 2, 3 if you want to include Aaron Rodgers. And I don't think he's in that group now.
They'll have one this week with Baker with
Baker this week and Josh Allen. And then they'll have Lamar Jackson here in a few weeks. And if you want to include Aaron Rodgers, that's another one. And next year, they're going to learn that it's going to be a little bit more difficult when you get a tough schedule, because next year they get the AFC West and the NFC North.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a really tough schedule next year. But so big deal. They have an easy schedule. They have an easy schedule.
Absolutely. I'm enjoying it. Go ask Green Bay about Carolina last week as a 2-touchdown. I know they're 5-4, but you can't take anybody in this league for granted. You can't.
No, but I think the schedule thing is you play who is on your schedule. That's what you have to do. And so, I think there's a good chance they win more games this year than they do next year. I think next year they're playing in Brazil for a game as well.
They are.
So it may be a little bit more difficult, but this is the building process. I think internally, the reason they didn't go out and get somebody like Hendrickson, where they're going to have to pay him a fortune, is they're looking at this thing and say, okay, we're year 1 of the rebuild. Okay, we have a rookie contract quarterback. We can spend a lot of money in the offseason. They got a lot of money to spend. And then we can, build this thing over the next 3 or 4 seasons. That's the way they're looking at it. And right now the problem is the fans are salivating over the fact that they're going, oh, my God, the Patriots are up at the top of the AFC. They're the 2nd seed right now. They're going crazy over that. I'm not sure they're good enough to win the AFC or the Super Bowl. You tell me. I don't think they're good enough yet. But
you look at Indy right now with, and I looked this up the other day because I was like, Daniel Jones could be.
I don't trust him.
MVP and comeback player of the year in the same. That hasn't happened since I think Peterson with the Vikings not too long ago. Peyton Manning almost did it, but didn't. No, I mean that's the thing. There isn't anybody out there in the AFC that I would fear. And now there's still a lot of football left to be played, and let's hopefully they'll be reasonably healthy going towards the end of the season here, but. Look, if they get a home playoff game, and it could be against Kansas City, could be against the Chargers, could be right now it'd be against. If the playoffs started today, they play Jacksonville at home. That's where they play.
I wouldn't be surprised if they won a game or 2 in the playoffs. I just think that we're asking a little too much, getting a little too greedy. If you think that they're going to go in there, and even if it's at Gillette Stadium, and they're going to beat Patrick Mahomes. And, Kansas City is getting more and more of their guys back right now. You can see the speed, on offense. And what difference is it if you're Kansas City, what seed you are? You still have the best quarterback in the league. You have a guy that is a magician out there.
Well, they got some work to do, and they're going to need some help because right now
their defense is good, though, Pete. Overall, their defense is good.
But their quarterback didn't play very. I mean, Buffalo always beats them in the regular season.
5-1 right now. Josh Allen against Patrick Mahomes. How'd Buffalo do in the? How many rings has Buffalo got right now?
No, I know that postseason, different story.
All right, in the old days, I remember where they used to go to the Super Bowl every single year, 4 years in a row. My day.
Hey, lastly, Jonathan Gannon out your way in Arizona. How are the fans reacting to Jacoby Brissett, which I think is the right move, by the way, over Kyler Murray? Jacoby Brissett, those guys on that team respond, especially Marvin Harrison Jr. respond better. But is there anybody upset about because it seems like Jacoby's going to be the guy the rest of the year, barring injury.
I'm not thrilled about Jacoby Brissett. He is what he is. He's a backup quarterback. Doesn't he do that commercial where he's the backup and he comes in? Does. He's the backup. Okay, that's what he is. The problem with Kyler Murray, well, there are numerous problems. One, he's small. Pete, he really is small. Okay?
Yeah.
And second of all, he can run, so he's very athletic. The problem is he'll run back 40 yards to make 3 yards. Okay? So he does so much work and running around, just trying to escape people, that you sit there and say, you just ran 60 yards and you only gained 10. What good is it? And you're wearing yourself out. So he's fine when the offense is in a good flow, when they've got a good running game and it's really balanced. And of course, they've had injuries to the running back position. So when that starts happening and he starts losing some people, he puts it all on himself. And this is a guy that's willing to put it all on himself when he shouldn't be putting it all on himself. And that's where he gets himself into trouble. So he's, watching him play out there is exciting. He's a great entertainer. He's just not a great quarterback.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. All right, what else? What do you got going on? Anything you want to share with the audience here, or you just you got projects on the side?
I'm not wearing pants today, Pete. I'm not. I'm sharing that with you and the audience.
What, you judge? Like,
nope.
All right.
I don't have to, Pete. I'm retired. I don't have to wear pants anymore. Why do I need pants?
No, you don't need pants. Not at all.
But you wear shorts every day, right?
Every day. I went to my 40th high school reunion in Rhode Island.
You had to wear slacks.
I had to wear jeans, and I had lunch with Mike. And I was like, I felt uncomfortable. The last time I wore pants was at a wake maybe I went to down here in Florida a few years ago. I don't wear pants. I just don't. Never. Why would I?
I'm the same way. I mean, you're in a climate like we're in, and there's no reason to do it.
Patricia called me obnoxious. She goes, "What do you keep feeling around?" I said, "Because I feel." I don't know. I feel uncomfortable.
It's hard.
It's bunching up on me. I just don't like it.
Yeah, I don't like it either. We went to dinner this past week, and my wife was embarrassed because I had shorts on and like a golf shirt. And she said, "You can't do this." And I said, "What do you mean I can't do this? You're going to embarrass me." These people we're going with, 2 other couples, they're going to be dressed to the nines. And I said,
No.
the women will be dressed to the nines. The guys will have golf shirts or whatever.
Yeah, golf
shirts. Of course, I show up and I have to wear pants, and I'm like you. They don't feel good. I'm a fat guy wearing pants. It's like trying to squeeze a sausage into the skin they put it in, And it just is not comfortable, especially when you're at a restaurant. You want to have a couple glasses of wine, the whole work. I show up and guess what? The 2 other guys wearing shorts and a golf shirt.
Of course, it's always that way.
Oh my God. I am, Pete, 2.5 hours. I'm so pissed off. I don't even know what I ate. I can't remember it.
And you got swamp ass because you're in pants.
Yes.
It's just, it doesn't matter how cool the restaurant is. It's just your body's not used to it.
No, it's even worse here. And you probably have the same thing in Florida when it does get a little chilly at night. When I say chilly, oh my God, it's 62 degrees. It's chilly. They put the heaters on outside, outside restaurants.
Yes.
And you're right. You got that sweat. And it's just, so freaking obnoxious. I can't take it. So I'm with you. I never. It's like twice a year. It's like you're right. It's like funerals and weddings, and that's about it. That I wear.
That's it.
Long pants. Yep. So, and I'm happy with it. I'm thrilled. I
love it. All right, Big O, you're the best. Continued success, and we'll definitely have you on again in a few weeks. Or
anytime, Pete. You know that. Anytime. It's always great catching up with you. We had a lot of fun in the old days, and it's good to catch up and have fun today.
Absolutely. And I'm going to start taking odds on which radio company goes out of business first.
Oh. Well, George Soros has got a few other issues now, I think, because they're coming after him for the RICO Act and everything else. So I don't.
Love a little Radio RICO.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, our old station, I think, is suffering a little bit right now.
Man, unbelievable. Did you see Chris Curtis ask that question of Vrabel the other day and get the laser eyes?
What question did he ask?
He asked him about the schedule, and
I did hear him say that. Yeah,
I played the cut.
Yeah, and he said the glee in your eyes. Is that what it was?
You're sitting over there with that smirk.
Yeah, well, I'll give Curtis credit. I mean, he's the one person on that show that's willing to throw some tough questions out there. So I would say good for him.
Yeah, good stuff. All right, Big O, you're the best, and best to you and Sarah and the family, and congrats on the grandkids and everything else. We'll talk soon. Thank you.
Same to you, Pete. See ya.
All right, bud.
Bye-bye.
All righty, there he is, Big O Glenn Ordway, Massachusetts broadcaster, Hall of Famer. Angel, what we got going on today on the network on a Wednesday, Hump Day Wednesday?
You, myself, and Glenn are on the same boat because I'm the same way too. I can't stand pants. I can't stand jeans.
Nope.
This climate, there's no way. You wear jeans down here in Florida, and you might just do like the NBA version, just freaking rip them off because you can't. It's the worst thing possible. But Glenn had mentioned too about the heat lamps going on when it gets a little bit chilly down here. Yep, we went to a place not too long ago, and it was the same way. They pulled down the side curtains, put on the heater. I'm like, it's 71 degrees out. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
But whatever.
Anything coming up on the network today?
What's today? Today would be Wednesday. The We the Thunder podcast will be coming up later on this evening.
Those guys do a great job with the Lightning. Great stuff.
Sure do. Yep, they sure do. So they'll be on at 8 p.m. today. And then hopefully come next week, the gang will be back together to talk some NBA hoops. So Talking Hoops should be back next week, God willing, as long as they're all good. But yeah, that's about it. That's coming up on the network.
All right, tomorrow, Trevor Harris from WQAM in Miami. We will have Hector Longo on from the Eagle Tribune, hopefully, and then Mick Colagio as well. Do a little hockey talk tomorrow. Here on the Pete Sheppard Show on the Coastal Sports Digital Network. I'm back. Thanks to my guests today. Thanks to Big O Glenn Ordway. Thanks to CLNSCincy.com's Mike Petrali and Bill Sparrows, the senior betting analyst from Bookies.com. Great stuff. Thanks to Angel Martinez. Thanks to all of you. Back tomorrow at 7 in the a.m. See ya!